I'm here on the scene.
Welcome to Pokémon Channel, Nintendo's newest Pokémon game. You play a crack television tester. The good folks down at the Pokémon Channel sent you a TV, and your job is to watch it. Actually, your job is to watch your Pikachu watch TV. The thing is, there's not really that much on. There are episodes of an insipid cartoon called Pichu Brothers in Party Panic.
Smooch 'em, smooch 'em, smooch 'em.
I think the pink one's horny. Since Pokemon only say their names ad nauseum, you spend the whole time reading subtitles. Well, at least the kiddies are learning to read. There's the quiz channel, though I didn't seem to know any of the answers. Can I get a lifeline from the 8-year-olds in the audience? This is the egg hatching channel. You watch it for 5 minutes until the egg hatches. No, I'm not kidding. On this channel, you wait until the weather changes. May I point out that at no time are you required to hit any buttons? Oh, and for those of you who don't know, hitting buttons is what makes something a video game. This is the relaxation channel, because I'm not bored enough. You have to watch these boring, ridiculous shows all the way through. Then you have to wait until the next day to get new shows, which is also known as resetting your system clock. In case you're wondering where the game part comes in, it doesn't. You literally watch your Pikachu watch TV. The shopping channel could count as slightly interactive. Ooh, a turd doll. God, Pikachu's gonna want it. Pikachu wants you to buy him everything he sees on TV. He's like having a bratty child.
Squirtle.
Squirtle sounds like he's on the losing end of a 40-year smoking habit.
Squirtle.
You can take screen captures and color them in, then sell them at auction or have them discussed on the art show. Or you could buy a coloring book and some crayons. That would be funner and cheaper. Yep, that's about as interactive as it gets. You can go outside with Pikachu and meet other Pokemon. You can make Pikachu water your garden or look at certain landscape features, but mostly, Pikachu wants to watch TV and buy things. The whole experience of watching something watch TV feels like some bizarre comment on society that needs further study. But not for $40 and not by me. Pokémon Channel gets a 1 out of 5 for not actually being a video game.
Yes, it is time again to yap about a subject that nobody asked for, but one that I have to talk about today.
They're the Pichu brothers, but I'm sure you knew that. 'Cause these two are known both far and wide. Just try and guess the next place they'll turn up at. You see, life's a blast with your best friend by your side.
There are very few games that give me a serotonin boost like video games from the early 2000s, especially video games with the iconic low-res polygon art style. Hello my friends, my name is Sapphire, and today we are talking about a game lost to time. A game so boring, some may even consider it not to be a game after all. A game that 8-year-old me got from the Blockbuster week after week after week. Today, we are talking about Pokémon Channel. Pokémon Channel released in 2003 for the GameCube and is a spiritual successor to Hey You Pikachu, which was an equally strange N64 title.
Pikachu, come here.
Meanwhile, I'm getting fat. I walk myself. Where's the love?
And if you're familiar at all with Pokemon history, you would know that 2003 is a pretty big year for Pokemon. Because not only was Pokemon Channel released, that same year we got Pokemon Coliseum too. But we'll circle back to that later. But Pokemon Channel, you might be asking to yourself, what is the plot? What is the point of this game? Well, let me tell you. Professor Oak is trying to promote his own TV network, and it's your job as the player to help Professor Oak watching broadcasts. Yeah, you watch TV. That's it. Like, that's the entire game. This is so wild to me because imagine like you get a Pokemon game for Christmas thinking like, oh man, the next mainland title, we're gonna like see so many cool Pokemons. We're gonna have so many fun trainer battles, but it's just Pokemon Channel. You just watch TV with Pikachu. That's the entire game. But somehow 8-year-old me ate this up. In total, there are 12 channels to explore. Shop and Squirtle, which essentially is just the QVC shopping network, a trivia-based quiz show featuring Wobbuffet, Newsflash with Psyduck,
I'm here on the scene.
an art exhibition-style program featuring Smeargle, a workout jazzercise type channel called Smooch 'em Shape Up, a weather station guided by Slowpoke, and of course the iconic Pichu Bros anime.
Smoochum's all excited. Pokemon are carrying little cards, and they're shaped like a crescent moon.
When I tell you that I loved these brothers, I was obsessed with the Pichu Bros. Literally, utterly obsessed with them. It's also worth noting here that as you watch more TV episodes and complete reports for Professor Oak, you actually end up getting more channels unlocked during gameplay. This includes the Mareep Farm channel, Chansey's Fortune Cookie, the Chum Chum Rating, Examination Hatch Up, and Odd One Out, but we'll get more into all of that a little bit later. When researching Pokemon Channel, particularly on YouTube, stuff from the Pokemon Channel immediately came up, which is already just not great for the SEO of this GameCube game, but we'll get to that later. In general, there's just very few videos on the game that I could find, most of which being just hour-long Let's Plays, or one video doing an entire long play of the entire game that is just filled with comments from people who either forgot that this game existed or didn't know it existed in the first place. This is such a strange game. It's very bare bones, but I have a fondness for it because of how charming it is. I wish it was more fleshed out though. And that really is where the problem lies, isn't it? What is Pokemon Channel and what are you supposed to do exactly? Well, I can tell you from firsthand experience, I would rent this game from Blockbuster every week just for the Pichu Bros. That's literally it. I don't even think I actually played any of the game itself. I just wanted to watch the anime.
Of course, there are days things don't go right. Even the best of buddies sometimes fight.
The Pichu Bros anime clips could only be viewed through Pokemon Channel, making it, in a way, kind of obscure lost media from the 2000s. And this is sort of true to this very day. I can only speak for growing up in America in the 2000s. I'm not sure what it was like for like folks in the EU or Australia or whatever. But Pokemon anime content was very limited back then. Most kids could only watch the cartoon if you had WB4 Kids or Cartoon Network. And that was for the main Pokemon anime, the main cartoon. Never mind any bonus or weird, obscure Pokemon content. That was just not available. And as a kid with very limited internet access, like I was not allowed on YouTube at all back then, Pokemon Channel was the only way to actually watch this anime. So I got it from Blockbuster again and again. But aside from watching the Pichu Bros anime, why else would somebody pick up Pokemon Channel? Number 1, your parents saw this game and saw Pikachu on the cover and assumed you would like it. Number 2, you're a die-hard Pokemon fan who plays every game the franchise puts out. Or number 3, Jirachi. So for a bit of a history lesson for those who might not be aware, Jirachi is a very unique Pokemon that could only be obtained using either bonus discs from other games or if you like lived in Japan. That's basically it. Meaning, if you wanted to finish your Pokedex for, let's say, Emerald, you would need a bonus disc. And as a side note, I will call myself out here that I totally fell for those YouTube videos that claimed if you spoke to the one space guy from Moss Deep City, you could fly to the moon and find Jirachi. Yeah, I fell for it. I'm sure you did too. Anyway, the first way to obtain Jirachi was for Japanese residents via the Daisuki Club. The Pokemon Daisuki Club is the name of the Pokemon Japanese fan club, and according to this website, PokemonProject.org, this Jirachi gift was actually given out to winners of the Daisuki Club Lucky Draw, and the redemption for winners took place at Pokemon Festa 2005, which I tried looking up myself. Very limited photos from this event, but from what I could find, it looks fire. Like, I wish I could have gone. This looks so fun. Anyways, I also think when Jirachi Wishmaker first came out in Japan, there was some sort of distribution for it. I couldn't find too much on this, but according to Cerebi, this level 5 Jirachi was obtained via movie. So I don't really know, kinda unclear. If you did not grow up in Japan in the 2000s, worry not, you could get Jirachi. The other way to get Jirachi was through Pokémon Channel. Okay, so not just Pokémon Channel, but let me explain quickly. So you could obtain a Jirachi of your very own in Pokémon Channel and transfer it to your copy of Pokémon Ruby or Sapphire. For some reason, this was only available to Europe and Australia. I presume because in North America, people could get Jirachi via Pokemon Coliseum, which is still strange to me. It's like, why are you gonna limit your game? Like, not including the Jirachi in your game is already gonna limit the marketability of your product, so I'm not really sure why they would do that. But in addition to the PAL version that had Jirachi, you could also obtain some e-reader cards. Okay, so again, a minor tangent, but listen, there is so much like backstory to this for a game that no one gives a fuck about. Like, there is so much, there is like so many levels to this. You have Jirachi, e-readers, like how far does this go? Well, fear not, I will tell you all right now. So back in the 2000s, the Pokemon Company introduced a super wacky new concept to its TCG called e-reader cards. The e-reader is hardware for your Game Boy Advance that is used to scan cards to unlock new features in Pokemon games, making it pretty cool bonus content to get. So I actually have a couple of cards myself, and they are pretty notable for their design. Looking at like other Pokemon cards in comparison, the e-reader cards look super, super different. They of course have the little E in the corner and the barcodes you can scan. I'm not sure what these cards would even do if I scanned them. I don't own an e-reader, so like, they're just fun, but as a little show and tell example for you. The whole concept behind the e-reader cards was very big in Japan, but largely had a pretty big disconnect with the international audience. This feature especially was very unpopular in North America, later being discontinued only a year after Pokemon Channel was initially released. When scanning the Pokemon Channel e-reader cards, the cards would upload new templates for the player to paint using the in-game software and for Smeargle to critique. As a side note though, the e-reader itself was a separate purchase, so to use this feature, you would have to both buy an e-reader and Game Boy Advance, just for some coloring sheets. You can see why this died very quickly. Anyway, moving now into actually the plot, if you could even call it the plot, of Pokemon Channel and what you actually do. So when you boot up Pokemon Channel, you're greeted with a TV style menu screen, and upon launching the game, you launch into this mountainous windmill landscape with Maddmites flying toward you, holding, you guessed it, a TV. Meanwhile, Pikachu, Torchic, and Trico are on the ground, looking in awe or horror, it's unclear. But anyways, Professor Oak then greets the player, explains to us the general premises of the game, and we launch into the first episode of the Pichu Bros. After watching the episode, we return to the normal world, meeting our friends Pikachu, Trico, and Torchic. I guess Mudkip is just MIA. I don't know, Mudkip's not there. That's cool. We then watch some more clips, including the Psyduck Newsflash. And Boba Fett's quiz show. This quiz game is actually kind of fun, with a wide variety of questions for the player to answer. A lot of the questions are sort of that silhouette, who's that Pokemon style question from the anime.
And the answer is a Jigglypuff seen from above.
And this obviously isn't groundbreaking in any means, but it is for kids, so I think it's quite cute. At the end of our first day in Pokemon Channel, Pikachu ends up just breaking the TV entirely, and so Oak gives you a retro black and white style TV instead. But in addition to watching channels, you can also play with Pikachu in your bedroom, and even do outdoor activities. That's right, you can actually touch grass in this game too. Later on in the game, you can actually travel to a bunch of different zones entirely in Pokemon Channel, including the Springleaf Fields where we live, Mount Snowfall, Viridian Forest, and Cobalt Coast. You can meet various Pokemon in each area, depending on both time of day and the area's weather. From time to time, Pokemon can also visit your house, which is pretty cool too. But like I said earlier, as you watch more TV, you also unlock more channels to watch, and I just have to highlight a couple of these because some of them are just so bizarre. They have to be like their own separate section of the video, like Shop and Squirtle. It's QVC. That's totally fine, like that's very straightforward. But there are some channels that are just too bizarre to not go into detail on. So up first is the Examination Hatch-Up, which is literally a Pokemon egg that you sit and watch hatch. If the player guesses which Pokemon hatches, they win like Pokédollars or whatever. And according to Bulbapedia, eggs can either take 5 minutes to 24 hours to hatch. That's just absurd. Like, this is crazy to me. Like, imagine a child just sitting here and watching an egg hatch for 24 hours. Like, that's probably happened. That's had to have happened. But if watching an egg hatch in real time really isn't your thing, fear not, there are plenty of other ways to, I don't want to say waste time, but waste time. For example, in the Mareep Farm channel, you just watch Mareep jump over a fence. That's it. Meanwhile, in the Odd One Out channel, this is yet another sort of gambling game where Oddish will appear on a screen, and then the player has to guess if it's an odd or even number of Oddish. But besides watching channels and playing with Pikachu, there is one other big game mechanic to cover, and that is the nice cards. So like in most Pokemon games, there is some sort of collection you have to accomplish, whether it being the Pokedex. That's it, just the Pokedex. But in Pokemon Channel, you can collect nice cards. You can either receive nice cards from wild Pokemon in the world, or by buying them in booster packs on the Shop and Squirtle channel. In total, there are 110 cards to collect, 9 of which are special Pikachu cards. You can also buy a virtual binder for your card collection, and if you actually finish getting all 101 cards, then Professor Oak gives you the extra 9 for the whole set. It isn't exactly hard to collect these cards. Usually a Pokemon will just ask you a very basic trivia question, and then you answer it right and they give you a card. Pretty straightforward stuff. But the cards are actually pretty cool, featuring a really cool hologram version of the Pokemon and its cry. Now, I'm sure you're all wondering, so Sapphire, is there actually an ending to this game? And to that, sort of yes. And it's actually quite cute. So after the player fully unlocks the entire Preacher Bros anime, Jirachi will appear and you have a little bonfire with the Jirachi. And that's it, that's how the game ends. And then the player of course can transfer Jirachi to their other games. Hi again, Editor Savvy here. As a side note, like I said earlier, Jirachi was only available in the PAL version of Pokemon Channel, which meant that this ending cutscene was not available in the US copy of Pokemon Channel. Again, this is just such a bizarre choice to make. I'm not sure why they limited this to only the PAL version of the game and not just for everybody. Because quite frankly, if this Jirachi was available to the US in the North American release, I am certain that this game would have sold better. Hands down, it would have sold way, way better. Overall, though, this is just such a strange concept for a game. I can only imagine, like, what were they thinking? Were they just trying to cash in on the hype of the now very much growing Pokemon anime? And if so, why release this game before Colosseum, which did leagues better than Channel ever did historically? To put this into perspective for a bit, Pokemon Channel released in Japan in July of 2003 and roughly sold like 66,000 copies in its first year. Only 4 months later, Colosseum released and sold 600,000 copies in its first year. Not to mention North America, a whopping 1 million. Like, I almost feel bad. Nobody gave a crap about Pokemon Channel. If you're wondering back in the day how reception for the game actually did, it overall got a very lukewarm reception. Critics generally did not like this game at all, citing overall gameplay being very weak and unengaging, all agreeing it obviously catered to Pokemon's younger fanbase. Author Tokyo Drifter of GamePro guessed that this game had been tailored for die-hard fans and would please nobody else. Meanwhile, IGN's Mary Jane Irwin said that its intuitive interface, copious instructions, and mindless entertainment would keep young players entertained. Meanwhile, Nintendo Power's review called this hours of fun for Pokemon fans. When first doing research on this video, I wanted to find out why television? Like, what was Pokemon thinking with this concept and execution of Pokemon Channel? Like, what? I have to get into like the mind brain of Pokemon. Like, I want to be in the room where it happens and just figure out why they decided to do this. And while doing so, I found a review from a person named Ben Cosmina, who is, I assume, a reporter for who in 2004 got a copy of Channel in exchange for a review. And he said this: "When I first got Pokemon Channel, I was told that I should keep in mind that this game is aimed at kids around the age of 5. And on Pokemon's official site, they flat out say this is not even a game. More of an activity than a game, Pokemon Channel was a serious change of pace from typical Pokemon games. Pokemon Channel isn't your typical Pokemon game, more of a virtual experience than a Pokemon game. More of a virtual experience like Hey You Pikachu." It's still mind-boggling to me that this was our first Pokemon GameCube title. And yeah, I'm not counting Box for Ruby and Sapphire. I know that's like the first official one, but like, no. That's not even a game. Like, it's actually not a game. Pokemon Channel at least has semblance of being a game. But with this being our first GameCube title, this is what they serve us. With its past games being Red, Blue, Gold, Silver, Ruby, Sapphire, I can see why fans would be quite frankly disappointed over this being what we got. And I understand that while this game was made for kids in particular, let's do some quick math here. If you were, let's say, around the age of 8 when Red first came out, you'd be 13 when Channel was released. And my hunch is that most OG fans who would have been in the demographic for Channel would prefer more battle-oriented games like Coliseum, for instance, versus just watching TV with Pikachu. Of course, as fans grow older, newer fans emerge, like myself, who was only 6 when Channel was released. And like I stated earlier, I did enjoy this game. I found it entertaining. But I think with this game, or any game for that matter, it's all about perspective. Some fans will like it and others won't. I mean, we're still having this same debate to this day over new games coming out, so it is no wonder that from the very start, Pokemon fans have been just very polarizing in a sense of what games they actually think are good and what are bad. Not everyone's going to be impressed about a game, and that's okay. My big takeaway here though is we should not bash others for the games that they enjoy. For example, Scarlet and Violet, I did not play those games. I didn't enjoy those games. But am I going to sit here and bash others who did like them? No, that would be silly. That would be just rude. An honest critique of a game or a funny meme here and there is one thing, but let's just keep in mind that bashing other people for their preferred games of choice is not cool. With all that being said, I can see why Channel failed, especially since we got Coliseum a short while later and then the following year XD Gale of Darkness. And while I have you for a minute, a quick show and tell part 2, I have XD Gale of Darkness, baby, for the GameCube. This was my OG childhood copy of Gale of Darkness, and it is in mint condition. I actually have no idea how I kept it this pristine, honestly. With the guidebook included, that's right. Gaming. I actually wish I had Pokemon Channel, but like I said earlier, I would always just rent that from the game store. every week basically. But honestly, a white whale of mine is to also own Channel with possibly the guidebook. Is that a big ask? That could be a big ask. But anyways, back to Channel. Conclusion. In the realm of strange spin-off Pokemon games, in hindsight, Pokemon Channel wasn't all that different. With games like Hey You Pikachu, Pokemon Sleep, My Pokemon Ranch, or Pokepark for instance, I think Channel fits right in and has a place in weird Pokemon media. I think for its time, honestly, Channel had a really unique idea. I just don't know if this idea works as a GameCube game. I love the idea of Pokemon channels with different Pokemon running each channel, and if they wanted to have a short segment like this, why not just run it at the end of the anime? To elaborate on this, for those who grew up watching the anime of Pokemon, during the credits there would usually be like the Poke Rap or some sort of song, a skit. A lot of things would be at the end of these episodes. If you want to show off the 3D graphics of GameCube games, and if you want to highlight these fun channels, why not just slap it on the end of an episode of Pokemon and just call it a day? Now, before you say money, because of course money is the reason behind this, did they even profit that much? Like, it obviously sold some copies, but was it even worth it? The production costs, paying all those people, why not just pool all of those costs into Coliseum and then using the little adverts from Channel to further promote Coliseum? Like, just imagine, you watch the anime, it's a great episode, Ash won a battle or two maybe, and then you see Newsflash with Psyduck, he's on yapping, who knows what he's saying, but then we see, coming soon, Coliseum. If you like these graphics, you'll love Coliseum too. I don't know, it just could have been cool, right? And for those who argue that they would never do this because they want to just make money instead, then why not make like CD-ROMs out of it instead? Back in the 2000s, video game companies loved CD-ROMs. Computer games were all the rage back then. So why not just slap some Pokemon Channel content into little CD-ROMs, shove it in a box of Cheerios and just call it a day? I don't know. And I mentioned the CD-ROM computer game thing because very specifically I remember as a kid wanting like the Tyson chicken nuggets because you got a Pokemon CD with it. I think given the overall timing of this game's release, combined with a very limited demographic and lackadaisical gameplay, I can see why fans of the franchise would be not fans of this game. So personally, would I want to see Channel being revived? No. No. Out of any spin-off for Pokemon, I would much rather want Pokemon Ranger or Pinball getting updated spin-offs. But with all of that being said, I do still love this game. I mean, it's goofy, it's creative, and I love those Pichu bros.
If I had to describe Pokemon Channel, it would be Animal Crossings meets Pokemon, except you're able to watch TV. Well, let's not waste any time and dive right into a game about being a couch potato. While being a couch potato. You start out the game by some Pokemon randomly delivering a television to your house, and at the same time a Pikachu takes up residence without your permission. Over a period of a week or so, you're able to collect channels that you can watch on your television. The good channels are the quiz channel, which you're able to test your Pokemon knowledge with some fun mini games. The host is Wobbuffet, and he asks you and the Pokemon that are playing the game questions, and whoever answers the most questions by the end of the game wins. Here's a really hard one. You have to see which Pokemon the cry belongs to. I wonder what Pokemon this could be. It says Squirtle, Squirtle. Squirtle. Let's see. I can't figure it out. Oh, it's Squirtle. Yeah, even though the questions are sometimes stupid, it's still pretty fun. Next up is Pichu Bros and Party Panic, which is split up into 5 parts, but if you put them all together, it's a full episode of Pokemon. The premise of the show is Pichu and his brother, Pichu I guess, are on the hunt to find an invitation for Meowth's party, but they're not invited, so they have to go and find one. Spoiler alert, they find an invitation. Real shocker. Chum Chum Ranking is where Smoochum tells you how many times you talk to certain Pokemon, how many times you watch certain channels, or even how many times you visited certain areas. Smoochum's a stalker. While Smoochum's not stalking you, she helps Pikachu get in shape with Smoochum's Shape Up, which is the fitness channel. A Pokemon-themed fitness game? Who needs these? Here's a channel that I use the most, Shopping Squirtle. The channel is basically a home shopping network for Pokemon. Even though Squirtle does a good job at selling things, I think my dog could do better. Who would love to buy this perfect copy of Tetris for the NES? Anybody? Going once, going twice, sold! Sold to the person in the back for $1 bajillion. Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, well anyway, some of the things that you could buy are wallpaper, Pokemon plushies, posters, and even bus passes. After you purchase an item, the next day you'll get it delivered by Delbird. Now we're moving on to the mediocre channels, and first one up is Odd One Out. All you have to do on this channel is guess if there's an odd or even amount of oddishes on the screen. It gets old fast. Next up is the Fortune channel. All you have to do is select a fortune cookie, and it has as much depth as, well, opening up a fortune cookie. Now it's time for a breaking update with Pokemon News Flash. All that happens is Psyduck sits there while Meowth is out on the field and he's talking to Pokemon about, well, very stupid issues. Watch this one on the mysterious wooden crate.
I see. And there you have it. That ends my report from the scene.
Yeah. Well, next up is the Hatch Up channel. All you have to do is predict what Pokemon's gonna be in the Poke Egg. It wouldn't be so bad, but it takes about an hour for the egg to hatch. Let's see how the weather is in Slowpoke's weather report. Ooh, it's live from Mount Snowfall. Okay. Oh, he woke up. Okay. Okay, what kind of weather is it? Come on, make it sunny. Make it sunny. Come on, Slowpoke, make it sunny. No, yeah. Yeah. Yes, it's sunny! Now it's on to the horrible channels. There's only 3 of them and I'll go over them fast. There's Smurgle Art Studio, which just critiques art with generic terms like it's good and it's great. There's Mareep Farm, which just shows Mareep jumping over a fence until you fall asleep. And there's Fox News. There are also a lot of different areas that you could explore in the game. First off is the Viridian Forest, which lets you go to Camp Starlight at night, but in the daytime, there's nothing to do. There's Mount Snowtop, which lets you go to a Jigglypuff concert. Please don't go to the concert though, cause she'll make you go to sleep. Not because she's boring, but, well, you know. What I don't get is why Kekilian has a microphone. He just sits there, he doesn't even sing. Weird. The other thing in Mount Snowfall is this temple that's abandoned that you could go into. It's surrounded by a bunch of shady characters, and Pikachu doesn't like going in there because he gets scared. Yep, Pikachu, you better be scared. This is what you get for mooching off me and coming into my house and not leaving. Now after leaving Mount Snowfall, you have to go back and catch the bus to go to the beach. But this bus takes longer than a regular bus. I'll come back after the bus comes here, but you could sit down and just wait. Isn't this fun? Yes, the bus is here. Nah, it's just Mount Snowfall. I guess we'll have to wait some more. This is just absolutely ridiculous. I don't know what guy thought this was a great idea, that waiting's fun in a game. Yay, the bus finally comes. Now we could go to Cobalt Beach. There are 2 fun mini games at this location. The first mini game up is fishing. All you have to do is get this Poke food, throw it by the bobber, and wait for fish to come. Pikachu does the rest for you, and it's very boring. Once you catch a fish, you walk up to it like any other Pokemon. It'll ask you a question, and if you answer it correctly, he'll give you a nice card or 10 points. Minigame 2 is just tic-tac-toe, except you always win because Pain, my Pikachu, is stupid. The last area that you could visit is the backyard, and it's split up into 2 sections. The first section, you could go and garden, and the second section, you could play catch with your Pikachu, which is the most boring activity that I could imagine. Now that we talked about all the lands that you could visit, let's talk about how bad and reckless Pikachu is. One of the biggest pains that Pain my Pikachu does is that he invites his friends over to my house, which is bad enough, but then his friends ask if they could take my stuff. When I say no, Pikachu looks angry. I wish I could buy a BB gun on Shop and Squirtle to get these guys out of my house. If you thought I couldn't come up with anything else to talk about in this game, you're wrong. There's also a Pokemon Mini with 6 games. The first game is Snorlax Lunchtime, which makes you eat a ton of fruit but no Pichus or they're gonna zap you. Next up is Slowking's Judge, which makes you see if a ball's in or out on a court. Don't know what game they're playing, but it looks boring. In Chansey's Dribble, all you have to do is dribble the ball up the court in the fastest time possible. Pokemon Pinball is absolutely the worst game on this collection. Please explain to me how you're supposed to get better at this game. You just flail around until you win. Now it's time for the Puzzle Collection. The game has more depth than a lot of DS games. There are a lot of modes on this game that are really worth playing. The last game on this collection is Pikachu's Rocket Start, and it's horrible. All you have to do is click A when the guy says go, but I'm never able to make it past the first round. The last thing that I could talk about on this game are the nice cards. You could collect these cards that have pictures of Pokemon on them. I don't know why they just don't call them Pokemon cards. Well, this is all I could say about Pokémon Channel. It's not a half bad game. I mean, yes, the premise is stupid, but somehow they made it work. This game is made up of a ton of little distractions that will only entertain you for 5 minutes apiece. But when you add up all those little distractions, you get a game that will easily entertain you for a week or 2. I really don't see why people hate this game so much. I actually liked it better than Sapphire and Ruby. And that's why this game gets my highest recommendation.
So what is the Pokemon game that you can't show on YouTube? It is Pokémon Channel, released in 2003 for the Nintendo GameCube. If you look up any video of this game on YouTube, you'll see a little message from the uploader complaining about their video getting removed due to copyright strikes. And if you were to live stream the game, as soon as you ended stream, sure enough, your VOD would get striked as well. Not even Germa is immune to this. Uploads or compilations of his Pokémon Channel streams have to be censored just so the video doesn't get taken down. So what gives? Why is the Pokemon Company taking down videos of this seemingly innocuous GameCube game from 22 years ago? Let's find out together, shall we? Pokémon Channel is a very bizarre video game, one that is surprisingly difficult to categorize. It's a collect-a-thon virtual pet point-and-click game with enough exploration for it to feel like an adventure game, and weird virtual pet games are my bread and butter. It shares a lot of DNA with the previous game in the series, Hey You Pikachu, which I would love to talk about, but that'll have to wait for another video. Anyway, as for why footage of the game keeps getting taken off of YouTube, the answer is pretty simple actually. First of all, it's not Pokémon Company taking the videos down, it's actually ShowPro Entertainment, which is the production company responsible for the Pokémon anime. They submitted the entirety of the anime to YouTube's Content ID, which is an automated system to detect copyrighted content and remove it from the platform. Pokémon Channel for GameCube, the topic of this video, has clips of the Pokémon anime in it. Not only are the anime clips one of the main rewards for progressing the game, they are required watching. You are not given the option to skip them. And that's a bit of a problem for Let's Players, because it means you have to edit your video aggressively immediately to remove all the clips of the anime that the game makes you watch. And as such, if you were to live stream the game, that's why your VOD would get taken down immediately upon ending stream. Stay tuned to the end of this video or check the description for a solution to this problem. But for now, it's time for the ad.
You ever try to take a nap and you end up just lying there with your eyes closed, thinking about something you did in middle school? Yeah, me too. But that's why I'm excited that today's video is sponsored by Manta Sleep, because they actually get how important good rest is. Manta Sleep is all about what they call the pro-nap movement, which is basically the idea that naps aren't just for kids or lazy Sundays. They're total game changers for your focus, energy, and overall well-being. And as someone who runs on a weird mix of hyperfixation and exhaustion, I've already been using sleep masks for years at this point. And the Manta Sleep Mask Pro has brought me many a restful night already. It's got this premium ultra soft padding, and the adjustable eye cups completely block out light without putting pressure on your eyes. That means you can blink and move comfortably, which is a must for side sleepers. Plus, the strap is customizable, so it actually stays in place instead of sliding off like every other sleep mask I have ever used. Whether you're trying to squeeze in a midday power nap or you just need to block out your partner's late night phone scrolling, this mask actually helps you get real quality sleep. So if you want to upgrade your sleep game, check out the Manta Sleep Mask Pro using the link in the description, and thank you to Manta Sleep for sponsoring this video. Okay, so getting back on topic, who cares, right? Pokémon Channel is a spin-off Pokémon game that got mid-reviews at launch. Why does it matter that videos of it can't be uploaded to YouTube easily? It's because this game is really unique and interesting. If you're watching Planet Clue, it means you appreciate esoteric media from 20-something years ago like I do, and nothing fits the bill better than Pokémon Channel. As far as I'm concerned, this is the definitive Clue Core video game. It ticks every single box for me. So let's get into it. The game begins with Professor Oak dropping a TV right into your house. The idea is, you are a test audience for Pokémon Channel, which is an in-universe TV station that airs a bunch of different kinds of Pokémon-related TV shows. And immediately, he asks you to watch the first part of the Pichu Bros anime. There's no way to skip it or fast forward through it, you just have to watch it, and I obviously can't show it in this video. Once you do, he teaches you how to write a report about what you watched, which is essentially the equivalent of saving your game, but then Oak shows you that you're not exclusively locked into looking at the TV. You can take a step back, and hey, there's a bunch of Pokemon at your door, and you can invite Pikachu in. What an opportunity! A wild Pikachu just happened to be so enticed by the TV that he's become part of the test audience. Oak wants to know exactly what Pikachu thinks of Pokémon Channel, and you have to be the one to report it. The TV is the core mechanic of the game, and thankfully the anime is only a small part of it. Right off the bat, there are a bunch of channels to watch, and you unlock more as you progress. You have the news channel, where Psyduck gives you the hot scoop of what's happening, and they go live to Meowth, who's on the scene, and he interviews Pokemon in a very adorable fashion, which has become a genuine vocal stim for me.
I'm here on the scene.
Licky tang. Licky tang.
I see. And there you have it. That ends my report from the scene.
I'm here on the scene. Lasso. Lasso. I see. And there you have it. That ends my report on the scene.
There's also Smooch 'em Shape Up, which is an exercise channel, and when you zoom out from the TV, you can see Pikachu trying to do the exercises, which is insanely cute. Look at him go! There's also Quiz Wobbuffet, where you compete in Pokemon trivia, and if you get it right, you get money. Oh yeah, I haven't explained the money yet. Oak starts you off with some money at the beginning of the game, which you can spend in the Pokemon shopping channel, called Shoppin' Squirtle. This is a pretty core part of the game as well. They go through 3 items at a time, and you can choose to buy or not to buy. There's a huge range of potential items that can show up here, and that list gets larger as the game progresses. There are dolls, posters, wallpapers, and other stuff to customize your room. It's really neat. And when you buy stuff from there, Delibird swings by to drop it off at your door, and Pikachu excitedly reveals what's inside. But yeah, sometimes it's nice to just let the TV play, take a step back, and explore your bedroom. You can make Pikachu dig in the trash and get his little paws dirty just to find nothing, but when he looks under the bed, he finds a Pokemon Mini. For context, the Pokemon Mini was a real Nintendo handheld that released in 2001. It's like a tiny Game Boy, but there are only Pokemon-related minigames on it. But yeah, Pokemon Channel features a fully fledged and accurate Pokemon Mini emulator in it, which is very out of left field, but also extremely cool. The Shoppin' Squirtle even offers new models of Pokemon Mini to choose from, and even cartridges with new games for you to play on it. It's really fun seeing what antics Pikachu can get up to around the room, like politely asking if he can chew on the TV. How could I say no? to that face. Of course you can chew on the TV. Then Professor Oak gives you the Smeargle figurine, which allows you to capture frames from your TV and paint all over them. It's super fun, but the UI makes some incredibly cursed sound effects, and the eerie silence doesn't help. Once you fill out the final report for the day, Pikachu gets so excited he thunderbolts the TV, completely destroying it. And Professor Oak rush orders you a very old black and white TV to use for now, and then tells you to grin and bear it. It's like, dude, I didn't do anything. Pikachu did it. It's not my fault. You say goodbye to Pikachu, power cycle your GameCube, open the BIOS, and set the date forward by 1 day. That's right, this game uses the real-time clock to determine when new shows arrive, Animal Crossing style. Sure, you could wait a full day before booting the game up again, but if you change the date when you run out of content, you can clear the whole game in about 3 hours. And thankfully, by the next day, Oak was able to get you a replacement color TV, and everything's fine. He also mentions that you can buy new TVs on the Shop and Squirtle, which is a very fun feature. There are some new programs this time around, like Slowpoke's Weather, where he will very slowly tell you the weather. There's also Smeargle's Art Study, where Smeargle will look at the art you made and worship your creative brilliance like you're the next Da Vinci. But sometimes it's good to go outside, and there are actually quite a few areas to explore in Pokémon Channel. For instance, you can head to the yard, and there are a bunch of Pokémon around to hang out with. If you talk to them and answer their trivia question correctly, they give you a Nice Card, which I also have not explained yet. Nice Cards are the main collectible of Pokémon Channel. You get them from meeting Pokémon outside, like I said, or by simply buying packs of them on Shop and Squirtle. There are 101 Nice Cards to collect, each corresponding to a different Pokémon. There's also a garden out in the yard where you can grow a flower if you water it every day. From the yard, you can head to Springleaf Field, where you can find a ball and play catch with Pikachu, and it's really cute. On day 3, Oak allows you to name Pikachu. So I named him Yellow Man, because he's my little yellow man. There are some new channels, such as the Hatch Up Poke Egg channel, where you guess what Pokemon is going to hatch from the egg, wait 5 minutes, and if you're right, it gives you money. There's also Chansey's Fortune Cookie channel, which gives you a little horoscope. You can head to the front yard, which leads to the bus stop. There are more Pokemon friends here, but also a bus that can take you to different parts of the city. Once you find the bus passes in Shop and Squirtle, that is. Speaking of Shop and Squirtle, if you want to skip segments like the intro or items you're not interested in, if you press L and then R to like cycle the channels and then go back, it'll immediately go to the next segment, which is a miracle for trying to collect all the items in the game. When you head up to Viridian Forest, Pikachu can play a little concert with a group of Cleffa. Aside from some Pokemon you can meet, there's also Camp Starlight, which is only open at night. Once night falls, however, you can hang out around a bunch of Pokemon at a campfire. There's a sign that says, on a clear night, look to the stars, but if the sky isn't clear, you can't do it. When you hop on the bus to Mount Snowfall, there's also a little concert where Jigglypuff sings, but of course with all the snow on the ground, Pikachu simply has to build a snowman. And finally, there's Cobalt Coast, where Pikachu can fish. It's really fun to pull in all sorts of water-type Pokemon, including Whalmer. There's Whalmer, there he is. On the 4th day, there are a few new channels, such as Chum Chum Ranking, where Smoochum will arbitrarily rank random Pokemon with a point system. I'm not really sure how it works. It also reveals some statistics, like how much TV you've watched. There's also a minigame called Odd One Out, where you have to guess if the number of Pokemon on screen will be even or odd, and the earlier you guess, the more money you get. You can also double up and gamble a little bit. And finally, there's the Relaxation channel, where you count Mareep, and that's the whole thing. On day 5, there's a breaking news alert. The final program disc has gone missing. Magnamite was supposed to deliver it, but it fell, and they lost it. They can't find it anywhere. So it's up to you and Pikachu to go find it. In Mount Snowfall, there's suddenly a new area to explore called the Ruins of Truth. But Gengar is blocking the path, and you have to find the Duskull lamp. So you head over to Springleaf Field to find Duskull. He wants a ball, and once you give the ball to him, he gives you the lamp. You take the lamp over to Gengar, and when Pikachu holds it up, Gengar cartoonishly sprints away, at last revealing the entrance to the Ruins of Truth. This is the grand finale of the game, and I think it's a masterpiece. It's so ominous and quiet and spooky. I love it so much. You start off in complete darkness with nothing but 2 weird plants in front of you. Pikachu thunderbolts both of them, and they light the path ahead. And right up ahead is the riddle tablet. You have to answer true or false. If you get it wrong, Golbat appears, and you have to do the whole thing again. But if you get it right, a Golbat statue appears. Pikachu checks inside of its mouth and then gets stuck, and you have to free him by rapidly jiggling the joystick. When he is free, the final program disc comes with. So Pikachu returns the disc to Magnemite, you get to watch the final part to the anime, and then file a report. Professor Oak thanks you and Pikachu for your contributions as a test audience for Pokémon Channel, and that's that's about it. But if you open the game the next day, all of a sudden, Jirachi comes to visit and floats around your room for a minute. Then you head to Camp Starlight and you can finally use the star projector. And they project the Pichu Bros anime, all 5 parts in its entirety, onto the night sky, and that's the end of Pokémon Channel. We've seen it all. But that's not absolutely everything. I didn't include some of the secrets and completion rewards just so you could dig those up for yourself in your playthrough. Pokémon Channel might not be super mechanically dense, but it's cozy and it's charming and it's extremely distinct. I can't think of any other video game that feels like this. The TV mechanic is really unique. Like, not a lot of games allow you to just set the controller down and watch something with a virtual pet for a little while. Like, sometimes I'm in the mood for a slow-paced, low-stakes video game, and Pokémon Channel scratches that itch for me. Seeing how much detail they put into Pikachu and how he interacts with the TV and with the world is fascinating. He can exercise, he runs all around the room, he'll ask you to pet him, and you can even train him to change the channel on his own. Pikachu's behavior is really cute in this game. The collectathon element carried my enjoyment a lot further than I thought. I ended up talking to every new Pokemon I saw just so I could collect their respective nice card. I loved scrubbing through Shop and Squirtle over and over just to see what items would show up. The fact that they embedded an entire Pokemon mini into the game that you can interact with was so cool. Like, I love grinding to try and get the gold one with all the games. It's so satisfying. The excessive use of trivia as a gameplay element got a little tedious near the end, but it's perfectly enjoyable most of the time. It has some stiff animations, and sometimes the game has some uncanny audio, but stylistically I don't have much bad to say about it. Overall, I think Pokémon Channel is one of the most fascinating titles for the GameCube, but I feel like it hasn't achieved the same reach as a lot of the classics from that era because of the anime segments and the fact that you can't skip them. So I made a mod for the game that removes the anime segments entirely called Pokémon Channel Stream Safe Edition. That way, streamers and YouTubers can freely play the game without worrying that their content is going to get taken down. You can download it using the link in the description, just drop it straight into Dolphin and you're good to go. Prior to now, Pokémon Channel has never had a widescreen code for the American version of the game, so I commissioned it for my friend Zarithia, who also added it to the Dolphin Wiki. Now, I have to put these modding segments at the very end or else Nintendo will take my video down, but seriously, Nintendo's greed is actually pissing me off at this point. They've been getting really cocky by gradually exhibiting more and more anti-consumer practices in the past 15 years, and the pricing of the Nintendo Switch 2 has absolutely crossed the line. Almost $100 for a single video game is actually insane. Nintendo has a massive backlog of fantastic games that are no longer available for sale that have been graciously preserved by the community.
Let's talk about the game Pokémon Channel. It's awful! So the game starts with a bunch of Maddmike carrying a television, and if even a passing knowledge of electronics has taught me anything, that TV is completely screwed now. It turns out that television is actually a present from Professor Oak, who wants us to be a test audience for a brand new service called Pokémon Channel. The main premise is that you have to watch a bunch of Pokémon-themed TV shows for the sake of research. First off, you have to start by watching an anime short featuring the Pichu brothers. Who are the Pichu brothers? They were in a couple of mini-episodes presented before some of the Pokémon movies, and you haven't thought about them since. Don't pretend you remember them, I certainly didn't. This short doesn't have anything to do with the game as such, it's just a Pokémon episode, and not a very good one. The entire short is presented from the perspective of Pokémon with no human characters. You might say this is a good avenue for visual storytelling, but nope. There's a narrator to tell you everything the Pokémon are doing, going to do, or have done. Thank you, game, but believe it or not, I do have functioning eyes. After 5 minutes, the short ends on "to be continued," because why not? And here, the professor asks us to file a report. I say file a report, actually you're just saving the game. As much as I would love to give my constructive criticism on this piece of shit programming, you can't actually do anything. Where did that cry come from? Probably 2004 from a child who got cheated out of 40 quid when they bought this. No, it wasn't. It's actually a Pikachu who wants to talk to you. Apparently it has some interest in watching the television, so Professor Oak asks if you can monitor Pikachu's viewing habits. So this is where the bulk of the game is. You're watching TV channels with a Pikachu in the room, so let's go over all the shows. First is the Pokémon Channel News presented by a Psyduck. I hate this! I really hate this! The entire show is just listening to Psyduck sound effects and reading the subtitles to know what it's actually saying. I think there's maybe 4 different Psyduck sounds for about 90 seconds of news bulletins. It's torture! It's actual torture! You know that thing young children do when they want attention, so they just repeat the same word over and over again to the point where you want to kill that child? That is what this show is. I would be willing to murder a child to make it stop. Sometimes Meowth will pop up for an on-the-scene interview with another Pokemon, but all these interviews simply involve Meowth nodding politely to whoever he talks to. Half of them don't even make sense. A Gloom asks Meowth if they smell bad, and Meowth just responds with, "I see." By the way, the quote-unquote news you're presented with are actually just loose facts about Pokemon presented as stories. We have received word that Wooper has beaten its personal record of shooting water using water gun. Riveting. I think Psyduck is just as invested as me in terms of the news reports, because if you watch for over 5 minutes, he just starts to fall asleep. Even the camera crew start to fuck off. Next channel is Quiz Wobbuffet. This is a quiz game for 3 contestants, but not you. You have to watch computer contestants, because why the hell would you want to interact with an interactive medium? The computers play 2 rounds of 3 questions, a silhouette round where you have to guess a Pokemon by its shadow, a peekaboo round where you guess a Pokemon by looking at it through a crack in the wall, and a cry round where you determine the Pokemon based on the cry it makes. But not the cry you hear in the RPG games, which sounds like a computer being butt-fucked. You actually listen to the Pokemon cries from the anime. You know, the cries from that TV show where the Pokemon just say their name. You have to guess what Pokemon it is based on that. Much like Psyduck, Wobbuffet only has 4 different sound effects, and I should mention that because you have a Pikachu watching the TV with you, they will add their own sound effects. No matter what you watch, you will always be able to hear Pikachu's voice. When it comes to the quiz, you do get to answer some questions in the ad breaks, and in answering those questions, you earn money to buy things from the Squirtle shopping channel. The main things you can buy are decorations for your room, different wallpapers, and something called nice cards. These are collectible trading cards that are collectible for the sake of being collectible. They are nothing more than renders of Pokemon character models, but they did a pretty shit job because some of them aren't even centered to the screen. Why is Octillery so far away? Of course, what's the purpose of buying decorations to put in your room if you can't look around it? Unfortunately, there's very little to do, as it seems you've been living in relative poverty, entertained only by a clock and a painting. Pikachu can interact with stuff, but it's not like he does a lot and he gets bored pretty quickly, much like anyone else who would play this game. Put trash where it belongs? I couldn't agree more. Going back to the TV, there is another channel I didn't talk about called Fitness with Smoochum. Judging by this show, I assume the Pokemon channel failed because I've seen pictures of Smoochum later in life, and let me tell you, she let herself go. All this channel involves is watching a bunch of Smoochum do an approximation of what exercise looks like. Barely anything changes depending on how many times you watch it, and unlike other fitness channels, it's a lot harder to wank over. Now, as it stands, that is all the programs the game has to offer you. What they want you to do is tune in every day for 5 days, getting a snippet of the Pichu short each time you log in, and also a couple extra channels. There is, however, one thing I neglected to mention about day 1. Professor Oak also supplies you with something called Smeargle 2. I assume Smeargle 1 topped himself. What Smeargle lets you do is take a still image from the Pichu short and paint over them, and I do mean any still image. The main reason this feature is shit, besides not having a mouse to color with because this is a GameCube game, any still image you take from the Pichu shorts will have horrible artifacting. The black lines don't connect properly, so using the fill bucket, which by the way is the only functional tool you get, is rendered useless. You can sell the paintings for more money, and there is a channel where your art can be critiqued, but what's the point? The art critic just talks and bollocks about brushstrokes. I was using the fucking fill bucket, for God's sake! Anyway, after all that, Pikachu gets excited and breaks the TV, meaning we can only watch in black and white. The only way to change that is to come back tomorrow in real-world time and tune in again. Fortunately, in-game clocks are easy to manipulate. Fuck if I'm wasting a whole 5 days on this piece of shit. The next channel we unlock is called Slowpoke Weather Channel. This is horrible. All you do is watch a Slowpoke walk back and forth until he decides to tell you the weather. You could be waiting actual minutes for the results, and I get the fact he's slow is sort of the joke, but it's not funny because all the channels are just as slow and uneventful. I have seen graveyards with more life in it. The reason you might want to know the weather is because you can go outside and play with Pikachu. You wander around your garden with the yellow prick, telling him to interact with things, although Pikachu can choose to ignore you if he wants to. So basically, it's like looking after a child and somehow less rewarding. You can also talk to other Pokemon, and if you answer their questions, you will earn more cards. This is the closest thing to a game you will find in this game. It's still bare bones and not fun at all, but it is, technically speaking, a game. And I know using the phrase technically speaking nullifies the compliment, but technically speaking, I don't give a shit. You can also buy bus passes to other areas to explore with Pikachu, but get ready for what is maybe the stupidest decision someone has ever made. You don't simply get the ability to travel to a place you have access to, you have to wait for the bus. have to wait for the bus? I thought video games were a method of escapism. Why don't I file my tax returns while I'm at it? Anyway, eventually the game progresses and you can give your Pikachu a name. I call mine Shithead. No, I don't care. Do you ever think I cared? New channel, Examination. Guess what Pokemon will hatch from an egg based on its color? Some of the Pokemon eggs are plain white, so how can you guess? Well, don't worry. The Pokemon will make its own cry every 30 seconds to tell you what will hatch. There is no reward for guessing correctly. Even then, if you aren't watching the channel at the exact right time, the egg will hatch without you because I guess this TV show is being filmed live. Don't they usually save live broadcasts for big events like sports tournaments? In fact, while I think about it, this game doesn't have a sports channel. Wouldn't it have been cool to see Pokemon battles on the TV? Well, according to this game, live birth is more interesting. I mean, it's not like there's any other Pokemon games based around battling, are there? Next channel, Chansey Fortune. Choose a fortune cookie and have it read. And just like normal fortune cookies, they're full of bullshit. You may not have any shape, but you can see feelings. What am I supposed to do with this information? My Smeargle's been upgraded to work on all channels now. It's still shit! Next channel, Odd One Out. Count the number of oddish and determine whether there's an odd or even number. Because this is a fucking preschool game now. Next channel, Chum Chum Ranking. It's a bunch of fake opinion polls. I'll give you my opinion. Fuck this game! These are all so boring, mind-numbing, tedious, monotonous. And just when you think the game can't possibly get any worse, just when you think this game couldn't possibly be trying any harder to make you fall asleep, the final channel you unlock is Counting Sheep. You get to watch a bunch of Mareep jumping over a fence. Am I going crazy? The funniest part about this one is if you watch more than 50 sheep, the show ends with to be continued. Ooh, I wonder what's going to happen next episode. Could it by any chance be more counting sheep? Okay, let's take a step back and actually look at this game properly. The end goal, I think, is to collect all the cards and buy all the decorations from the shopping channel. The way you earn those items and the money to buy them is exploring outside, watching the 2 quiz channels, or auctioning your art. Every other channel I've talked about, worthless. The only reason you would play them is for the fun of it, and I'm putting the word fun in giant quotation marks. Surely, if we're going to make Pokemon TV channels, we should be using a little more imagination.
Pokemon Channel! Man, it's had to have been 15 years or something since I last played this game. I bought it again in 2016, and I don't think I even put it in my Wii once. I was too busy playing sneakers. But when I first got it as a kid, I remember it was a winter night. My dad took me to a GameStop. He held up 2 games, Pokemon Coliseum and Pokemon Channel, saying he would buy me the game out of these 2 that I wanted to play.
Guess what I picked?
Yeah, so to this day I haven't played Pokemon Coliseum, but wouldn't anyone rather play a game with like 6 hours of content anyways? Pokemon Channel is more or less a sequel to Hey You, Pikachu, released on the N64. Hey You, Pikachu is kind of a whatever tech demo from what I've seen and heard, and made to promote the Nintendo 64 voice recognition unit. If this is your first time learning that this exists, congratulations, this script's research was mine as well. It worked with a grand total of 2 games. Great add-on, why not just release a prison bracelet? Basically, you'd use this mic to talk to Pikachu and do whatever you do in this game. I don't know, I never played it, I'm allergic to dumb BS.
Clearly.
Man, while doing research for this game, it just seems like it got pretty negative reviews across the board. IGN gave this game a 5 out of 10, and GameSpy gave it a 1 out of 5 stars. I find it pretty damn weird these critics roast this game like a chestnut on an open fire, but Pokemon Sword and Shield, Pokemon Scarlet Violet, oh, they're the best games ever made, best Pokemon experience,
God, game critics are just the worst.
Booting up the game, we fly through the region of Paldea. Never mind, that's just early GameCube graphics. Listen, I'm trying to be more appreciative for Christmas, but I won't change who I am. So Maddmike drop off a TV where we meet Anime Professor Oak, who talks to you through the TV.
What kind of wild technology is this? Is there any way that people can talk to each other through screens? By the way, make sure to subscribe, like the video, and comment down below if you like the content.
Whatever, it's the world of Pokemon. Nothing makes sense anyway, it's a damn fantasy land. This is the same franchise that relies on 10-year-olds to save the planet every generation, and where you could shove mythical creatures into a ball the size of a block of cheese. So I'm willing to accept you can talk through a TV for the sake of this video. It might be one of the most realistic things in the entire franchise, honestly. Once a TV arrives, you soon watch the Pichu Brothers anime. I'm not taking any chances with this, so that's why it looks like crap. For context, the Pichu Brothers are side characters that would appear in a few Pokemon movies before the anime jumped the Sharpedo. For the purposes of this game, it seems they made one spin-off episode centered around these characters, but it gets split up into 5 different parts or channels. As a result, you can only watch like 3 minutes at a time before the game shuts you out, but to be honest, the story of this anime is kind of just filler. It's charming, sure, and I loved the Pokemon anime back in this era, but honestly, this episode just doesn't have all that much to it, and that should kind of set the tone for what this game will be like. We get interrupted anyways by some goddamn freeloaders knocking at the door. Yeah, that's right, run away, you cowards. Pikachu welcomes himself in though, and props to our invisible avatar for feeling safe around an electric rat who could kill him in a blink of an eye. So here's how Pokémon Channel works. The game runs in real time on a day-to-day basis. So if it's night in the real world, assuming your internal clock is set up correctly, it'll be night in the game. Now this isn't an entirely new concept for the Pokemon franchise. The idea of the tangible world's time impacting the gameplay was an idea brought to the table in Generation 2 of Pokemon, and then removed in Gen 3.
No one panic though, I'm sure this will be the last time Pokemon removes a feature from the games.
Let's just get this out of the way before we talk further about this game. Pokemon Channel is less about being a game and more about being an experience or simulation. There's really not a lot of, if any, real gameplay in this package. It boils down to you sitting around the TV, watching channels with your Pikachu, and then reporting to Professor Oak at the end of your day. He thanks you and says the next part of the game essentially just continues at 5 a.m. The interactive elements boil down to clicking on objects with a pointer, seeing Pikachu interact with it, and occasionally answering quiz questions or some sort of UI. So Pokemon Channel is more or less a game you play in half-hour intervals, something like Animal Crossing or that Dreamcast game that I won't be saying out loud. To start the game off, you're only given access to a handful of channels, the first of which is Shop and Squirtle, with one of the members of the Squirtle Squad. Does anyone remember who that is, or did I just date myself? Apparently this guy's name is Spencer. I have no additional comment, it's just Spencer the freaking Squirtle. Shop and Squirtle channel is how you buy items to fill up your room. These can be anything from ugly wallpapers, to ugly TVs, to plushies and posters. When you buy an item, it'll be delivered the next day and just gets plopped down like a rat in the streets. Now, this is one major point of contention I have with Pokemon Channel. Since you're buying all these items, you'd think the entire draw would be choosing where to place them, so you could decorate your room how you see fit. But instead, every single item has a predetermined location, which to me felt like a huge disappointment. This contributes to the overall issue with Pokemon Channel. There's just not a lot to do in this game. And I get that, as I said, it's an experience sort of thing and less of a game, but I can't help but feel aspects of this just end up being a pretty big missed opportunity. I enjoy simulation games, but the point of them is to feel like you live in the world. And so something like customization and showing your friends what you've made is a huge point of a game like this. I remember frequently during Animal Crossing New Horizons, people would be like, hey, I made my house a freaking torture chamber, dude.
Don't know how I'm gonna explain Animal Crossing torture chamber to the FBI.
But with this game, it's like, hey, here's your puke-colored wallpaper. You bought it, so now you have to throw it up. Like, no, how about letting me choose what wallpaper I want from a menu instead of having to buy an entirely new wallpaper every single time?
The whole system in this game is just, this is the FBI, open up!
Despite my endless complaining though, I love the Shop and Squirtle channel. It reminds me of those commercials that always used to come on the TV while watching cartoons as a kid. Oh, look at this metal ball, it defies gravity. How's that lawsuit working out? What's really amusing too is that every item that's based around a Pokemon has a testimony of that same Pokemon being like, yeah, it's good, dude. Even the zoom out at the very end is hysterical, where we see Exadu standing at cameras with this set. I don't know, it's all small, but it just kind of makes me smile. But happiness is always fleeting, isn't it? You only get to buy 3 items in a given day, and then boom, the channel ends. On our first day of the journey of TV binging, we also see the Quiz Wobbuffet channel. This is a game show with some interactivity, although admittedly it's really boring. There are 3 types of questions. One is guessing which silhouette the Pokemon is, which is super easy if you know anything about Pokemon, especially given that some of the answers are essentially jokes. There will also be a challenge guessing on Pokemon's cry. The cries don't follow the games, where there would be a weird pixelated noise, and instead are more based on the anime. So it's not hard at all to guess which Pokemon is behind the door. The third type of challenge is if you're able to see a Pokemon through a brief sliver of a line, which is, again, incredibly easy.
You'll never guess who I am.
Anyways, this quiz channel is early on your best way to make money, which you need to continue the game. So you gotta sit through it like traffic, but with Pokemon. It's a little slow, it's a little easy, but you know what? It's harmless fun.
I don't know about harmless, I got a bruise while falling asleep.
There's also a news channel hosted by a Psyduck. It is funny when Meowth talks to Pokemon on the scene. scene, but besides that, Psyduck will talk and ramble endlessly to no visuals, just text. Is this what they call fake news? It's admittedly a bit uninteresting, and I know I've been using the words boring, easy, and so on and so forth, and it is, trust me, this game is all that, but it's not necessarily even bad game design here, it's just the experience that they're trying to craft. In real life, TV channels broadcast something 24/7, and that's just the world we live in. Something's gotta play, the show must go on, whether that be fear-mongering news or just boring 4 AM programming. I'm speaking from the heart of my nostalgia a bit here, but that's one reason I really fell for Pokemon Channel so much as a kid. It didn't feel like a game, sure, but it felt like I was actually watching a TV. My stupid ass actually thought that it was live too, which is hysterical, but if you laugh at me for that, keep in mind you're bullying a former 5-year-old and that makes you a toxic person. As the days go on, you unlock more channels, and to progress the story from there, you'll need to do some more tasks. For instance, early on, Professor Oak asks you to use a Smeargle doll to paint a screenshot from the TV. All you have to do is click on the doll that fell over during the anime channel to paint a black and white image of whatever your screen had. Now, like most aspects of this game, this painting feels really underfleshed. This reeks of being a concept or some kind of tech demo, but it at least does add some interactivity and freedom. But with that being said, it's really bare bones. You can draw, you can use a paint bucket to fill in objects with a jelly bean pattern, and yeah, there's really not a lot else that could be done here. Now, I know the immediate point of comparison here is going to be, oh yes, Mario Paint. It's like Mario Paint, and that certainly is better. Don't think anyone without a criminal record is going to be arguing otherwise. For a dumb throwaway feature though, it's fine, but I know if I didn't point this out, someone would have been outside my house soliciting me. Occasionally, there will also be some world building happening when you're not watching TV. Between days, events will take place continuing whatever the story this game has. This includes Pikachu breaking your goddamn TV. It's pretty funny though, since some Magnemites will immediately bring you a new TV. A black and white CRT piece of scrap metal. Can't wait for someone to tell me that playing on this thing would be the ultimate retro experience. Oh yes, I'm sure of it. Eventually, this Pikachu will continue to live and feel more safe with you, eventually wanting to even go outside, which we'll talk about in just a bit, but let's just finish up our channels first. We gotta listen to Professor Oak.
So sit down and watch me, watch my avatar, watch Pikachu, watch TV. The meta for this game is just out of this world.
One channel I didn't mention early on, despite it being there on day one, is the Smooch'em Shakeup channel. To be honest, this channel sort of sucks, and there's almost no interactivity whatsoever.
My only guess is they wanted people to exercise alongside this, so I will try my freaking best, okay?
Yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna say it. Screw this channel. I try to be as positive as I can with this game, but sometimes I'm just gonna say it like it is. And in this case, it's bad. There's a weather channel hosted by Slowpoke. Can someone tell me why the weather squares are so badly lit? I really don't have a lot else to say about this. Like, the weather does line up with what's happening outside. It is a world building function. I'm gonna take this moment though to point out one glaring flaw with Pokemon Channel. If you have a channel like this that's really boring, you might be inclined to, you know, change the channel, so to speak, which you can do with L or R. But if you leave too early, even if it almost feels like it's going to be over or nothing's happening, it erases all of your progress and you have to watch it from the beginning, or at least from a certain point in time. And it won't count when you go to Oak to save your game. For me, this actually broke a lot of the immersion with this product. And this might just be a me issue, but sometimes I would press the L or R button by accident. Now, that might be a very particular nitpick, but honestly, when you're just holding a controller and doing nothing, it happens a lot more often than you realize. We also have an art study channel hosted by a Smeargle. It's very unsettling knowing we own a voodoo doll of this guy. This channel is basically just a showcase of your art. And look, I know I'm not being the most descriptive game reviewer here, and I apologize for that.
No, not really. I'm not really that sorry.
But there's like nothing to say about some of these channels, like the Egg channel, which is a cute idea with about 3 seconds of actual content. Basically, this quiz has 3 rounds where you watch an egg hatch and you have to guess the Pokemon for Pokédollars, which, to be fair, this is actually a pretty cute reference to the actual game, where egg hatching is a very important function to the meta. Sometimes the eggs will be colored as the Pokemon, which to my knowledge never happened in the games or animes, but sometimes it'll just be a white egg. I know that likely means you'll get clues as this goes on, but excuse me if I don't have the patience to sit around and watch a white egg for 5 minutes. I'm too busy writing video essays about games no one cares about. You have the Chansey Fortune Cookie Report. Pick a fortune, any fortune at all. And yep, you certainly read a fortune. You know what? This game saved me $10 on going out and buying Chinese food at least, just to know my life is destined to be a failure, so that's good. We also have the Mareep Sleep channel. Okay, this is just lazy. I really think let's try running out of ideas here. Oh man. Is anyone else tired all of a sudden? There's also a second quiz channel where you guess the amount of Oddish running into what looks like a puzzle from Sonic Frontiers, which is another fine way to make money, but gets old after a whopping total of like 1 minute. what else? There's a stats channel run by a smoochum, because I guess they didn't have enough Pokemon to spread them around to have a new one for every channel. They only had a puny number of 386 Pokemon at this time, so you gotta give them some leniency.
And look, you can't be mean about it. Game Freak is a tiny indie studio. These things happen.
And yeah, that's about it. All in all, the TV is not great. It's hard to really defend these channels. Most of them feel like they were cobbled together in 5 minutes without any real thought for longevity. I feel like all these were conceived with the idea that Pokemon Channel would be a 30-minute tech demo, and not considering the fact that you have to play this game over 6 days. I still find it hard to sit here and really get that mad at them, because the simulation sort of idea is the purpose of the game, as I've been saying. Let's just say if you're not a Pokemon fan, I don't think there's gonna be a lot that's keeping you here. But that's not something I can just undermine either. Pokemon at this point in time was still incredibly charming, and this game is just a cute way to exist in the Pokemon world. The merchandise, the Pokemon cards you can win at and look at in your binder, the little mini games you can play in your Pokemon Mini. I'm not gonna say it's a life-changing immersion or anything, but it's enough of a charm where I would feel like the Grinch saying it's some awful game. And I feel like the presentation's pretty well done too. Now don't get me wrong, there are definitely a few points in this game which are rough around the edges. What in the actual hell did you guys do to my Eevee? The majority of Pokemon models are pretty well done though. Definitely not gonna win an award or anything like that, but it at least doesn't make me write a 2-hour-long video essay about how the series has fallen from grace or anything like that. And besides, the channels are only about half of the game anyway. We have the entire grand outdoors, it's only like 5 screens, to explore. Now at first, Pikachu is a degenerate and only wants to stay inside and watch TV. Around day 2, you can finally go outside. Now the outdoors are still very shallow, don't get me wrong, but there's a bit to do here. You can grow plants, play fetch, and talk to other Pokemon. If you answer their questions correctly, you can win a nice card, which I can only hope would be better than getting a mean card. For a lot of these questions, I could BS and sort of wade my way around to figure out an answer, but for some of these, you really have to be some sort of Pokemon genius to answer correctly. I don't know if the answers to these questions lie in the anime or the past games. Like, I'm sorry, I don't know the inner workings of a Weezing. Now, at first I thought that there weren't refreshes of Pokemon, because I kept running into a lot of the same types. However, it turns out that it's not the days that'll refresh your Pokemon, but the time and weather.
Well, I guess the Weather Channel did have some sort of purpose to it, but as a sensationalist YouTuber, I'm never admitting fault.
I'm sort of mixed on this. On one hand, there's at least more of a reason to check in at multiple points of the day, especially since some areas are entirely night exclusive anyway. The issue I do have with this though is that it makes this game's fresh content cap out pretty early on. Now granted, there are Pokemon that only appear on a Wednesday or whatever, so it's not entirely surface level, but it's really only one level above surface level. It's like the cheese in a 5-layer dip. You get some food, but you're still starving. At first, you can only go to your immediate backyard, but after day 3, you can buy bus passes, which let you go to Viridian Forest, Cobalt Coastlands, and Mount Snowfall. You might think it's a huge expansion of the game, and it might be in technicality, but the other areas don't really feel like variety besides the aesthetics, and like everything else in this game, this concept is just a very surface level. Pokémon Channel really should have just leaned in more to being an Animal Crossing clone. Look, if iCarly could do it, I see no reason why Pokemon couldn't. Like, there would have been so much more of a reason to continue playing this game if there were refreshes of Pokemon based off of days instead of weather patterns, and using all 386 of them instead of just 100. Because as is, there's really 6 days that encapsulate the main story, so to speak. And sure, there's gonna be some merchandise and Pokemon you naturally won't run into during that time, so you at least have a reason to turn on the game after the credits roll. But to be honest, if you played this game for the 6 days, you've essentially done and seen everything there is in this game. And to be fair to the outdoors, there are at least some cute events that can occur, but it's content that once you see once, it gets pretty old. And by the way, when I say this game has a story, that's a pretty damn generous title for what this game actually is. Okay, so let me try to make this sound interesting. You get close to Pikachu, you do your channel bullshit, and on day 5, there's an emergency news report. The disc containing part 5 of the Pichu Brothers anime has been stolen, and somehow this is breaking news. Breaking like freaking sanity. So you gotta do a gamer's worst nightmare. Get off the couch and go on an expedition to find it. Or in my case, turn the game off and wait until it's night because you have to go to a Duskull, and they only appear at night. You go to the ruins of the Duskull lamp, making the Gengar get out of the way, you answer one quiz question, and there you go. It may sound like I overly simplified that, but I promise there's really not a lot more to it. After this, you finish the Pichu Brothers anime. You see a very well done endgame and cutscene of everyone dancing, which was apparently a pretty early GameCube showcase. And yeah, that's the entire story.
And look at this, I just found the entire screenplay to Pokemon Channel.
So here's the thing about Pokemon Channel. It might technically be a bad game. In fact, if someone said it was a pile of trash, I would at least wait a minute or two before blocking them. But for some reason, despite me being eager to roast a game anywhere I can usually, I just can't bring myself to seriously hate this game. I respect what they try to do here, even if they didn't do it all that well. It's weird to say this, but Pokémon Channel was sort of ahead of its time in a lot of ways. As I've been saying, it's not a game, but it's more of an experience. And I could easily see something like that being released for free on phones or the Switch eShop these days. It's comparing apples and durians, but Pokemon Go is kind of similar at a very basic glance. There's not a lot you can do in one sitting, but you can turn it on and interact with different things on a day-to-day basis. But you likely wouldn't call either of them a game, it's just an application. Look, there was a lot of potential here. It's a cute idea, and I would like to see them revisit it before TV is a completely dead concept, so I think they got like 2 years left. The problem here, though, is that there's just no longevity here, which is why when describing some channels in this game, I struggle to write more than one sentence. I don't want to hate this game. I want to turn it on for months. I want to meet my new Pokemon daily. I want to customize my room and share my creations with my friends. I want to turn on the TV and have new experiences and unique programming. That's why I can't completely trash on this game. It's a product that I want to play, but it just doesn't offer all that much. If it existed nowadays, I think this game would get a lot of free updates and support.
Look, I'm giving Game Freak a lot of credit by thinking those would be free updates.
But hold your horses, there was one form of an expansion for Pokemon Channel at least.
Let's go!
In Japan only. Meet the Pokemon Channel expansion disc. Now, unfortunately, I don't have access to such a thing, so we're gonna have to rely on footage from the internet, which I will be sourcing. Now, there's really not a lot to say here, going off of this speedrun by Paraspective, proving that people will speedrun just about anything. There's some advertisements for the Pokemon movies, there's a karaoke channel, which is a cute idea, and fireworks, which is very obviously someone's 2001 camcorder recording of some actual fireworks show, and that's the expansion pass. I can't even stretch this out for content. It's even more simple than the base game. So look, as I said, I still like Pokemon Channel. It's empty, meaningless, devoid of substance and content, and yet it holds a great place in my heart. It's a time capsule in a way, and so my opinions might be heavily rooted in nostalgia here as a result, but it just reminds me of a different time. An era where I wasn't concerned about frame rates or Ocarina of Time trees, when Pokemon had enough charm to carry itself as a franchise, and have these dumb spin-off games make you smile. It's a very cozy and self-contained game. Well, it doesn't go all the way with the idea, it knows what it is at least, and it makes a pretty decent attempt at it. So is Pokemon Channel a bad game? Yeah, honestly, it kind of is. But you know what? It's a charming experience with a lot to adore and love. And so, while that may be the case, it is still a good product.
Remember back in the good old days when you used to love Pokemon, and you always thought it'd be really cool to have your own Pokemon? No? Just me then. Awesome.
Nevertheless, when I was younger, I was a huge fan of the Pokemon cartoon, anime, whatever title you want to address it by. We all know what I'm talking about. Watching Ash and friends on his crazy adventures, accompanied by his loyal sidekick Pikachu. So of course, making a game where you have your own Pokemon, and better yet, that Pokemon is a Pikachu, seems like a no-brainer. Then you play a game like Hey You Pikachu, and immediately you start to realise what a strange oddity of game design the concept of simply owning a Pokemon as a premise really is. Then we have Pokemon Channel, which takes the concept of owning a Pikachu and changes it to include sitting around watching TV with your Pikachu. Just makes you wonder who thought this would make a good game, and I use the word game very loosely. It basically consists of watching the available channels and then coming back tomorrow to see what else is ready and available. And yes, when I say tomorrow, I literally mean tomorrow. It's one of those games, somewhat akin to Animal Crossing, minus the on-set berating by Mr. Asai for not saving, and the actual elements of gameplay. Well, that's not very gamey either. Ugh. Pokemon Channel takes place in real time, using the GameCube's internal clock as a reference, so if you didn't want to wait, you could easily just change the time. The game begins with Professor Oak sending you, whoever you're meant to be, a TV set which is tuned to special Pokemon-themed programming. As I mentioned, the TV was sent to you by Professor Oak, and he talks to you plenty throughout the game, as you meet new Pokemon and check out the news shows, such as the exclusive episode of the Pokemon cartoon entitled The Pichu Bros in Party Panic, a news show hosted by Psyduck, which has the strangest news ever, Shop and Squirtle, which is much like any TV-based sales show, except it has insanely quick delivery times thanks to Delibird deliveries, Quiz Wobbuffet, Slowpoke's weather report, Smoochum's Shape Up, and Mareep Farm, which is literally just counting sheep. That isn't all the channels you get, but as you can tell from the ones I've mentioned, it is certainly brimming with quality programming. Besides sitting around watching TV with Pikachu, you can take the bus to various parts of Mintail Town, where this game takes place, and interact with You let Pikachu interact with other Pokemon and various other things found in the game world, because that's pretty much what this game is really about. You just tell Pikachu what to do. You don't personally interact with things much, but let me tell you, this Pikachu has a damn attitude problem. Cheeky little bastard. Honestly, it's a strange spectacle of a game. I found myself weirdly enjoying it. But really there isn't all that much here. It can be fun to mess around with. It does have its appeal, however short-lived it might be. If you stick to the rules and don't change the clock, the game can last about a week, and if you really like it, you can just keep playing. It's not really for everybody. I could see it appealing to people who are fans of games such as Harvest Moon and Animal Crossing, but even then, it's a fair bit different from those sorts of games.
So that's Pokémon Channel, one of the stranger titles that Pokémon has to offer. Anyway, as for me, I'm gonna go watch some TV.
Hey! Today, I'm going to be talking about Hey You Pikachu 2, also known as Pokémon Channel, also known as less communicating and forming a relationship with Pikachu. Pikachu, give me a high five. Don't just walk off. And more watching TV instead. Huh. Look what you're teaching kids, Nintendo! Pokemon channels will get on my Elias. Pokemon Channel is a game where you basically just watch TV with Pikachu. Great! I just get to watch Pikachu, watching TV of Pikachu, watching TV of Pikachu, and that's actually the entire game, I'm pretty sure. Just kidding! You can actually do this. Yay!
Flawless victory.
The game starts off with a weird sitcom-like intro. Pokemon Channel, starring all of your favorite Pokemon, like Pikachu, Mudkip, Trico, and Torchic. Follow as they experience problems like what channel to watch. And that's it. It's fun for the whole family. Anyways, the game actually starts off with you receiving a new TV. But when it's being floated across the country, Pikachu and friends see the TV and try to go to your house to use it. You apparently received a TV because you've been chosen to be part of the Pokemon Channel test audience. Considering there's only 2 people in the entire game, I don't think it was much of a feat to be chosen. Unless you want to count whoever's running Pokemon Channel, but you never see them, so you don't know if they're human. Pokemon Channel might be run by Pokemon? Grapes? I don't know. It's probably run by grapes. After you get your TV, you name your character. Ethan. Great. Then after naming your character, Pikachu decides to come into your home due to your new TV. And the game from there is basically just about forming a relationship with Pikachu by watching TV, like a real family. Again, the game's main activity you participate in is, you guessed it, watching TV. I mean, TV is even in the title. Wait, never mind. Just got it mixed up again. The TV has many channels to choose from and many that you unlock. The channels are basically divided into 2 different categories, the useful channels and the entertaining channels. The entertaining channels are there just for entertainment, I suppose? I mean, don't you just love stretching with Smoochum? Or counting Mareep. Counting Mareep. 1 Mareep. 2 Mareep. 3 Mareep.
Wonderful!
I decided to do an experiment to see how many Mareep the game can count. So I followed the scientific method. Nah, I'm just kidding. No one uses that voluntarily at home. And now, I am proud to present the world record for the amount of sheep that jump over the fence in Pokémon Channel. And it's a whopping 1,000 sheep! And only then will Pikachu fall asleep. Man, is he a pain. And guess what? Smoochum actually has 2 channels. Oh joy. It is Chum Chum Ranking, where they show how good a Pokemon is by some random grading system. Or they copy Family Feud in a way, where they ask 100 Pokemon what type they like best, grass or normal. And oh no. How did you get that? Oh no, don't show that. Please, anything but that. I can explain. Okay, next Oh, I don't think that's supposed to happen.
You were close.
And then there's the useful channels, and this is where the actual, game is. I mean, most of the entertaining channels are just kinda dumb. And I also want to point out, Smoochum has 2 channels in the now dumb category. So let me just say, you're not doing so hot. The first useful channel I'm going to talk about is the news channel with Psyduck as news anchor. And I would watch the news a lot more if Psyduck was there. I'm just going to show a clip of a news report, and you guys can decide on what you think afterwards.
I'm here on the scene. Gloom, 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 gloom.
So what did you think? Just click on one of the links there to show your mood and what you think. Alright, let's move on. The reason I say the news channel is useful is because it actually shows if some event is happening that day. Like a random crate. What could it possibly mean? It doesn't really do much, but it's still there. And you can break it.
Pikachu? Pikachu?
Actually, never mind. This is the best thing in any video game. 10 out of 10. Proper Pikachu. Smash confirmed. Many Pokemon, such as Psyduck, have jobs. They're mostly more exciting jobs, like being on TV, but it's still pretty funny to imagine a Pokemon in an office cubicle or something. I don't really know how, though, they could possibly integrate that into the game. Anyways, Meowth, field reporter by day, rock star by night.
Bumbling and fumbling, screwing up and stumbling. Looks like Team Rocket's blasting off again.
Chansey, dumb fortune teller by day, and still dumb fortune teller by night. I don't plan on stopping the abuse against Chansey's fortune cookie channel. You see, it's just really dumb. All you do is choose a cookie, and it's like, wow! Would you look at that? Wow! Doesn't that just add nothing to the game? You don't even get the satisfaction of breaking open the cookie and eating it. I will admit, the channel has some really good music. But that's the only good thing about it, unless you really like Chansey. The next useful channels are the quiz channels, Quiz Wobbuffet and Odd One Out. The point of these channels is to gain unnamed currency with a P on it, so I'll just call them Pokemon coins. I'll get into the use of those later. The only other money-making channel is the Examination Hatch Up Poke Egg channel, but it isn't very fun. Gee, I wonder. Plus, the whole fun of guessing the Pokemon cry is just another part of Quiz Wobbuffet. Of the two quiz channels, I definitely like Quiz Wobbuffet a lot better since it's actual trivia rather than almost all luck like in Odd One Out. In Odd One Out, Oddishes or Oddishai, I don't know, go on screen and you have to guess whether there will be an even amount of Oddishes or an odd amount of Oddishai. The longer you wait, the less money you'll receive. Almost every time I played, I lost, but if you don't completely suck like I do, then it's actually a pretty good way of making money. Just not very fun. Maybe I'm saying that just because I keep losing. In Quiz Wobbuffet, there are two parts of the show. The first one, which is actually the majority of the show, is just watching other Pokemon do the trivia, and fail horribly. It's oddish. No. What? Huh? The other part of Quiz Wobbuffet is the present quiz, where the player actually gets to play, and this is where you get the money.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Just guess the Pokemon in whatever way they ask. Hey, it's Sup Dudes, my favorite Pokemon. There's actually another way of making money. It's going outside.
I've been working on this video for 3 days straight now. I just gotta go outside and make a few pennies. No exposure to the sun for 3 days, gonna burn my eyeballs. I just gotta do it. Just gotta.
Oh my god, I'm blind!
Hey, look, a penny. Cool. I'll just stick to going outside in video games. As I said, you can go outside and find random Pokemon that will give you trivia about their species. A lot of it is pretty easy to answer. If you get it correct, you will get a nice card. And if you do the trivia again the next day, you'll just get Pokemon coins. With the nice cards, I have committed to shaking every single one violently. You get the idea. Finally, I'm going to be talking about one of the biggest parts of the entire game. It's the channel Shoppin' Squirtle, where Squirtle will pitch off 3 items that you can buy with the Pokemon coins. You know, the things I've been talking about for the past couple minutes. You can buy decorations for your room, wallpaper, TVs, and there's this thing called the Pokemon Mini that you have, and on Shoppin' Squirtle, you can buy mini games for it. I don't have all of them, but the ones I have are surprisingly fun. What's interesting about the Pokemon Mini is that it was an actual handheld system sold by Nintendo, and certain parts of the games that it had are put as mini games in Pokémon Channel. Cool, right? The most important thing you can buy on Shoppin' Squirtle is the bus passes that take you to other locations. And we're so pleased to welcome you to our beautiful home. Come enjoy a natural wonderland to which we've added an ocean. Don't know how that's possible. A lush forest, a freezing tundra, and even your yard. Come relax and let us refresh your body and spirit with such activities as playing catch and discovering the hidden meaning of the whole. Since this channel is a home shopping network, you might be wondering how the items you buy get to you. Well, it's delivered by Hellspawn Delibird. Postman Delibird. So when I was younger, my older brother would sometimes play this game with my cousin, and that's kind of a big reason why I'm doing a video on this game in particular. And the 2 big things I remember are the mysterious pit, and also getting terrified of Delibird. I think it was just an anticipation of waiting for Delibird to arrive, though.
Baby?
Oh, no. So I ordered a package a long time ago from Delibird, or I don't know. I think he's here now. I'm not sure. I'm gonna go check. I don't want to see Delibird. I hate him so much. my god. Pikachu, you skin Delibird? Good boy. Well, that was a pleasant surprise, but I think I have a good guess on what might be in that hole. Yeah, I'm moving. Yes, of course. Ah, whoops. There we go. Oh my god. Okay, that's it. You've been doing so many bad things lately, Pikachu. Besides skinning Delibird, that one I'm okay with. But either way, as punishment, your name's now being changed to Pugapoo, and you stay a week in the cabinet. Anyways. Oh yeah, I should probably open that package I got. Alright. So Delibird got me an e-reader for the Game Boy Advance. Luckily, I have a Game Boy Advance. Probably should have gotten it, I am not prepared for this. So the game Pokémon Channel, actually, it comes with, if you get the right version, really, if you get the good version, it comes with these bonus Pokémon Channel e-reader cards inside. And I wanted to show these off, even though they're really not that important, and I spent too much money on this dumb thing that's not even going to be useful, really. So yeah, let me pop these out. So you go to options, you go to e-reader, use e-reader. Insert the e-reader into the game pack slot on the Game Boy Advance system. Hold on, you have to have so many things to do this. You need to have the Game Boy Advance, the e-reader, you need to have the GameCube, you have to have Pokémon Channel, and you have to have this other thing I'm gonna get real quick that luckily I have. Oh, they're synchronized connecting. Oh, hey, it's working. Oh my god, look at that, it's Pichu. Read error. Man, this is really stupid, it's not working at all. Keeps saying read error. All it does is just puts freaking line art, I guess, so you can fill it in, and then more paint patterns. So overall, pretty much a waste of money to get the e-reader just for this, even though it's not what you should be getting the e-reader for. Anyways, I'm just gonna stop talking about this whole thing and end this segment. Screw this! There's a couple other games out there that I might compare Pokémon Channel to. There's Animal Crossing with the real time mechanic, and they're also both games with no real objective. Besides, there's favors Professor Oak tells you to do, but he told me to keep quiet about them, so I'm not gonna go into detail. There's those kids' toys. I always see kids playing with them, having fun, but they just look so boring. Like, you can't imagine yourself playing with them, ever. You know what I'm talking about. Except in Pokémon Channel, there's possible criminal and satanic activities! Yay! Such as Pikachu's favorite channel. I've tried to turn off the TV, but he just turns it back on. I hate it. Look at that. I didn't teach him that. What I did teach him, though, was how to change the channel, but only one way, so if he misses his channel, he has to go all the way around. Also, when I'm just minding my own business, Pikachu just has to get possessed by Satan and attack me. It happens way too often.
The last thing I'm going to talk about is the ending of the game. Yeah, there's actually progression in this game. I know! I didn't believe it myself. So you go into a spooky temple and answer a question. Which, I mean, come on, of course it is true.
My whole life is a lie.
Then you get a disc that contains the final episode of the anime series on TV. The next day, Jirachi busts in and brings you to a campsite to watch a show in the stars. It's not as cool as it sounds. That show is a repeat of all 5 anime episodes that you're already required to watch. So yay! You're required to watch the entire anime twice to beat the game. And you want to guess what the final reward is for actually beating the game? The same 5 episodes, but in Japanese. I mean, you can also get Jirachi, but that's only in Europe and Australia, so no one really cares about that. Now that I've played this game as much as I can without going insane, Pokémon Channel is just very repetitive, boring, and it's really just meant for kids. See? There's colors. Look at them all. I could have sat here for hours when I was 5. As I said earlier, Pokémon Channel can be compared to Animal Crossing's time progression mechanic. But Animal Crossing does it way better, where things are actually changing without making the game too different or not different enough. Pokémon Channel has microscopic changes, and time progression seems like an excuse to make the game last more than 5 minutes. Almost everything you buy and every main story event has a wait time that makes the game take 2 weeks rather than an afternoon. It's also just not as unique as its predecessor, Hey You Pikachu. I mean, like, Hey You Pikachu is a bad game, but you know what? At least you're able to scream at Pikachu, which I wish I could do in Pokémon Channel. And don't worry, I've tried, but I look a little, dumb. Pick up the flower. I don't like you. Murder Pikachu.
Sorry, I don't know that.
You're a little runt, you know that? Well, I'll just have to do it myself then, god dang it. I hate your kind. I never even played Pokemon Yellow. How did you get out of the cabinet? Hey! Hey! I like this Pikachu better. Hey!
Nah, I take that back. This is my favorite Pikachu.
Man, the HD remake's looking pretty great. Get in the hole! Get in the hole!
Perfect.
Pokémon Channel is a game that really surprised me. For years, I thought it looked really unique, being like a TV watching game, which is not something you have very often. But I never really jumped into it because what you're doing in the game always seemed a little too dull. You know, you're watching some Pokemon-related programming, occasionally interacting with the screen to answer some trivia questions, and you know that's kind of it when it comes to watching the TV itself. And it seems very fan servicey, and I'm not a Pokemon fan. You know, maybe it leans it a little more into like the Pokemon anime if we're gonna get like a bit more narrower on exactly what it's doing. But I'm not a fan of Pokemon, so you know, as cute as some of the ideas here are, I just have no real interest in what's happening on the TV. But I decided to give Pokemon Channel a shot, and when I did, I found it's actually a really neat and fun experience. You just have to play it in the right way, essentially. As I mentioned earlier, the core of this game is watching TV programming, and all this TV programming is centered around, you know, Pokemon in some way. Mostly it's just a Pokemon hosting the show. So like news reports, there's like a Sleeping A channel, the shopping network, game shows, there's an exercise channel if you want to exercise alongside a Pokemon. As I mentioned earlier, I'm just not a big Pokemon fan, so to be honest with you, I just found the shows to be really boring. That's not to say that this concept can't work. I'm a big fan of Tomodachi Life and Tomodachi Collection, so I'm definitely all there for this kind of game. However, you know, I think this tone of the Pokemon series just doesn't really match up with me and my personal interests. So, you know, I've only ever played through 2 Pokemon games as well, Pokemon Blue and Pokemon White. So I personally just did not care about the content that was on the TV, even if the concepts themselves were fairly cute. However, what I do care about is the little buddy who joins you. So on the first day, a wild Pikachu is just like, hey buddy, scoot on over, I'm gonna watch what's on TV with you. And while the first day, it's not really any different, you know, he more or less is just like, all I wanna do is watch TV. Over time, he begins to, you know, kind of gain more independence from you, and eventually he kind of becomes where the fun of the game is, because as you know, time advances in real time, this game actually tracks through the GameCube's internal clock. You start to unlock not only new TV programming, but also places to go like explore. So you can go into your backyard, and while you're back there, you can watch Pikachu garden. You can go play ball with him in the yard. You also can buy like these tickets to go to various locations, like I think it's like Viridian Forest. I don't know the other names, but there's like a beach and a snow-top mountain kind of thing. And you can do a variety of little things there, like watch Pikachu fish, play tic-tac-toe. There's like these little weird concerts that happen, things like that. So you just kind of go around the world and, you know, click on anything that's suspicious, Pikachu will go look at it, and then if there's something neat there, it will happen, or Pikachu will just look at you and be like, why are you telling me to go look at this thing, essentially. There's no real depth to this, and to be honest with you, most of the content repeats really often. So when you are interacting with different Pokemon in the world, they ask you like trivia questions, but when you answer them, they're the exact same trivia questions every single day. So, you know, the world basically never changes outside of, or rather the content you interact with never changes. So if you go to the concert the first time, it's largely going to be the same thing the next time. There are some little tiny differences, but largely you are just interacting with the exact same thing every single time. So what ends up happening more is that you focus a little more on Pikachu himself and what he's doing, because he's just kind of like a goofball. So you're just like watching Pikachu kind of run around the environment. He'll do things like pick up like a thing that is clearly not edible, like a flower, and just be like, can I eat this? And if you say no, he gets angry. But if you say yes, he gets happy, and then he eats it and then realizes he can't, and then he's angry again. So it's like kind of like watching a child that you cannot reason with. Like, he's going to eat the flower, and you're just going to have to deal with it at this point. So there's a lot of like little just kind of yes-no things you can do with Pikachu. Sometimes he does crazy things like run out into the ocean and almost drown, and then he comes back and he's just like crying, and you're like, all right, Pikachu, sorry, you almost killed yourself. So it's just like really goofy little interactions like that. He'll just like randomly jump in the screen and bump you and things like that. So it's just like a really cute thing to just watch him run around. It's basically just like babysitting a kid and seeing what weird stuff he'll end up doing. But it's a pretty relaxing experience because of that. And when you start to build that relationship with Pikachu, that actually transitions a little bit into your TV watching with him. He'll want to do things like change the channel, or he'll start interacting with the screen and answering trivia questions, or like randomly buying things. So, you know, the more that he becomes more independent and the more he just kind of messes around with stuff, kind of the funner it gets to kind of watch him like do things, I guess. And while maybe there's a little annoyance there if you're a little precious about like how much money you have and things like that, where like, oh, Pikachu just bought like an 80 coin TV and you're like, oh my god, there's a bunch of money he just got rid of. But for the most part, you know, money in this game is not really precious enough that it's a big deal. So I would say it's less annoying and more just like a shock when he does it the first time. And so it's just kind of fun to think of like, you know, Pikachu essentially stealing your credit card and buying something off a TV program kind of thing. So it's like a cute little thing, but you know, at the end of the day, there's no real consequences here. It's all just like cosmetic stuff, and anything you need for progression is super, super cheap. The right way to play this game, I think, is just really not treating it as a game itself. Don't pick up this game thinking you're gonna spend 8 hours a day on it. You're not gonna do that. Essentially, get it, put the game in, turn it on, and then just let Pikachu just sit there and watch TV and do what he asks to keep him happy, essentially, and just like kind of keep your eye on him. Again, we're basically babysitting Pikachu here. And then, you know, at the end of the day, or at the beginning of your day, whatever you want to do, just do some errands with him. Just go around, you know, interact with the environment, see what's new, and see if you can, like, you know, talk to new Pokemon and do their little trivia question. You get like collectible trading cards from them, things like that fills out a binder. And it's just kind of like this fun little thing that you just kind of pick up and play from time to time, and then just turn it off. Just after like an hour, just turn it off, man. If you were buying this game back when it came out, it probably seemed like a pretty big ripoff if you were thinking about it in the context of like a full-priced video game. But if you look at it more of like a Tamagotchi kind of thing, or like a Pocket Pikachu, I think it's really good fun in that regard. And at the length of like essentially being 7 days worth of content, as long as you watch all the new TV programming, essentially you can just advance each day. Then you know, it's a pretty compact experience in that regard too. It's not like Animal Crossing where you have to spend, you know, essentially a whole year to kind of see everything it offers. 7 days is plenty of time to sit down, interact with pretty much the entire scope of the game, and then just kind of move on with your life. So, little cute fun thing, you know, again, it's not gonna blow your shoes off or anything, but if you're like, this is kind of like a fun little Pocket Pikachu pet simulator kind of thing, I think you'll be really happy with it. Could maybe use a little more like diversity in some of the like things that happened in the game, but overall I think, you know, it's pretty straightforward.
You know, I may have titled this video Pokémon Channel Review, but if I'm being honest, that's not exactly a great name for this one. unlike most of my other reviews, the reason that I made this video is slightly different. I recently played through Pokémon Channel again as somewhat of a sanity check. You see, almost all discussion of this game online is overwhelmingly negative, with many people citing that this is one of the worst Pokémon games of all time. That opinion is one that is starkly different from my memories with Pokémon Channel. So, welcome, not just to a review of Pokémon Channel, but to the defense of Pokémon Channel. I think what helps ground this somewhat obscure 2003 Pokémon game is looking at it as a sequel to the N64's Hey You Pikachu. It was made by the same developer, Umbrella, and broadly speaking, it is the same kind of game, in that it isn't much of a game at all, in the traditional sense. Pokémon Channel is a digital pet simulation, where your digital pet is Pikachu, but Umbrella decided not to go with a microphone peripheral this time as its main gameplay hook. Instead, the real focal point of the game are the Pokémon channels that you watch on your Pokémon TV. The game opens up with you being delivered a television by a group of Maddmike. Upon turning on the TV for the first time, Professor Oak tells you that you have been selected as part of a focus group to test their all-new Pokemon-themed programming. Your task is simple: watch the channels with Pikachu. That's it. Some of these channels are ones you'll want to tune into every day, and some of them are more one-off and fun gimmick channels. You can zoom your camera right on top of the TV so that the programming on the TV itself encapsulates your entire screen, or you can zoom out and watch Pikachu's reactions to all the different shows. The marquee channel within this television is the Pichu Bros. The Pichu Bros is a 5-part anime series where, when its 5-minute segments all get brought together, form a full-length episode of a Pokemon anime. Watching all 5 parts of this series is the closest thing this game has to a win state, but you won't be able to binge through it in one sitting Netflix season style. The later parts get divvied out to you over the course of the game as you progress, so you'll need to watch some of the game's other channels to pass the time. Unlike Pichu Bros, most of the other channels feature some level of interactivity with the player.
Squirtle, Squirtle, Squirtle.
The shopping channel with Squirtle is going to be one of your daily go-tos. It's framed as a teleshopping QVC equivalent where different merchandise gets cycled in each day. The merchandise may be collectible Pokemon cards that you can store in a binder, custom televisions with their own visual filters, or miscellaneous toys and knickknacks to decorate your room with. There's a game show channel hosted by Wobbuffet where you get to watch Pokemon contestants show their knowledge of the Poke World and a chance for Poke Prizes. And occasionally you can chime in too and earn some cash with the right answer. There's a news channel where all the latest current events get read to you by Psyduck, and on-site interviews get conducted by Meowth.
A zero! I see. And there you have it.
There's a weather channel hosted by Slowbro where you get told the in-game weather.
Slow.
If the clips you've seen so far are any indication, even when the game is at its most interactive, it's still a relatively passive experience, and I totally get why a lot of people find that off-putting. But I wanted to get this video out there to let you know, if you go into this game with the right expectations, this game is charming as hell. I think part of it is because of how unique it is. Pokémon Channel feels like it's an experimental project, yet at its center is the most profitable media IP in the entire world. And instead of making Pikachu the main character, it makes the main character a literal TV, and delegates Pikachu to a supporting role. The TV and its channels are going to be where 90% of your attention is spent. And that time spent has some in-game rewards too. The more channels you watch, the more channels the studio will create for you on subsequent days. And when I say subsequent days, I mean real-life 24-hour days. New channels get added after a day has passed, the shopping channel delivers to you after a day has passed, almost nothing here happens in real time. It all but forces you to stop playing after a small session to pick it up the next day instead. Pokémon Channel takes advantage of the GameCube's internal clock, not unlike Animal Crossing. But unlike Animal Crossing, whose content can run you up to 20-minute sessions over the course of a year, Pokémon Channel's content will run you 20-minute sessions over the course of a week. And I think that's why I'm having such a hard time finding fault with Pokémon Channel. There isn't a whole lot to the game outside of the main core channels, some of the room customization options are limited and weak, but the reality is that I only spent a few hours with the game and had a great time. The flaws don't have time to fester, and the game's heartwarming ending will send you off with a smile before you have time to get bored. Though the TV and its channels are the vast majority of your time spent in Pokémon Channel, you can step away and interact with the world a bit. While not watching, the game takes on more of a point-and-click adventure style of play. Clicking on different things in the environment will send Pikachu over to interact with them. Sometimes these will be objects, and other times these will be other Pokémon. Interacting with other Pokémon may give you a bit of in-universe trivia about said Pokémon, or sometimes it'll just be another friend for Pikachu to make. Though most of the exploration and interaction with other Pokémon will take place in your backyard and the surrounding area, there are a few bus trips you can take to some more exotic locations, like a beach or a forest. These locations will usually have different species of Pokémon to talk to, and occasionally a unique game or challenge of some sort, like fishing. Pokémon Channel is a game about the little things in life, like watching TV after a day at school, and more than just the programming itself, but the bumpers and commercials in between too. Maybe my fond memories of this game are clouding my ability to judge the actual game mechanics, or lack thereof, as harshly as I should be, but maybe that's okay. Games are more than just their mechanics. Games are art, sound, and writing, and so much more, all wrapped up together for you to interact with. And the way you feel about those things and the experiences you derive out of them are just as important as the mechanics themselves. One way or another, if you give Pokémon Channel a shot, I think you will come to like its comfortable atmosphere and casual gameplay style. And if you don't, you can always change the channel.
As a Boompa boy, my pockets were kinda hurting. I was a weak-ass kid with no means of production. But my mom used to take me to the library to rent anything I wanted. I know it kinda sounds cringy, but this was like my entertainment. Like my equivalent to being an iPad kid. I was renting like the Mario Bros. Super Show, like Disney movies, some fire books over my life, but above all, any Pokemon VHS I could find. I even used the search on like the little library database thing. This free entertainment mixed with frequent stops renting games at our local Family Video and Blockbuster gave me the chance to experience a lot more stuff, a lot more media, and just gave me like an illusion of wealth. Most games I rented got quickly forgotten, and some of them, like Disney Extreme Skate Adventure, were memorable for being kind of fire. But Pokémon Channel, this game that I rented for the GameCube, I remember for being ass, and I rented it around preschool, and I was not only kind of pissed, but I also could barely read, and this game was like TV, and you ended up being able to watch anime and stuff, and I feel like I was the perfect demographic for it, but I was just a kid, and I only played the game for like 10 minutes, and I didn't really know what to do. I was confused and hurt, and I was just stuck in a room with Pikachu and a TV. Kind of creepy. But I feel like now, where this isn't my only entertainment for a weekend, I can look at this game and laugh and see what it has to offer. So me and my friend Nessie are going to do just that on the Pokemon Channel. This game dropped in 2003 or 4 if you're in UK, and was developed by Umbrella, who is literally a game studio that just makes Pokemon spin-offs. A lot of hit or miss, so sit back, relax, like and comment if you want, and subscribe if you're new for more Boompa World. Let's get into Pokemon Channel. Not cheating. This is a legit run. You buy this from GameStop? Yeah. Pretty good start. I mean, pretty good start, honestly. Looks kind of cool.
Does it?
It's like Legends Arceus.
Beta. Options, bro.
Options, yeah.
Alright, so I guess I had e-reader shit.
That's honestly not very many options.
Heck no. Like, I was like, okay, we're about to go on an adventure, and then I'm like, okay, we're just sitting in a house. Big ass TV.
Okay.
God!
I was hoping you weren't gonna read it, honestly.
Chosen. Fuck. I always want to know your shit.
Seth. Is that the name of the Gen 3 guy? No.
Seth.
It's Bran. Bran.
Goodbye.
Wait. Calling it an anime.
Wait, all you actually do is watch? Is this just from an episode?
No.
There's some different shit?
Why?
Some Chuck E. Cheese type dudes?
Just trying in their own unique way.
I hate that voice though. That actually is trying to sound like that Toy Story.
It does kind of sound
impressive.
Yeah.
Impression of you. What's her? Kiss of Blue?
Smooch 'em.
Look at Sunflora or whatever. Sunflora does have a Poompa. Yeah. See, like, if you were a kid and you rented this shit and this is what happened, you had to just watch this weird ass shit.
Well, it seems like
okay, but I feel like when I got to this part, I was like, at least that shit's over.
Yeah. I thought the whole thing might be a song. I won't lie. I'm
not following.
I'm not really following.
We're giving a
fuck.
fuck.
Here's some stuff, bro.
My life's wasting away.
Yeah, how long? Clock Tower? Is the thing from Full Metal Alchemist?
Oh, wow, cliffhanger.
How
was the episode?
In Party Panic.
Ew. File a report? I was like, bro. File a report about what I just watched?
Do the report?
What is this channel just picture the fucking...
Mighty Anna? Yeah.
I don't even want to waste.
What if it's like, it like wants you to enter like a paragraph? Give me 4 to 5 sentences on, yeah.
You can buy things.
That's cool.
How about taking back and touching the grass and get some bitches? Get away from the TV, loser. That's nice. Make sure you turn off the TV.
Oh. Thanks, Oak.
Come from him? No?
Oh! Gang! He looks skinny. Like,
yeah, this is his transition to be skinny.
Yeah.
TV with Pikachu.
Oh. There you go. That's an interesting way to spin it.
So what? We'll have to look and be like, are you fucking with this show? Mm.
That's like epilepsy warning.
Pokepop. Oh, the shopping channel. Let's do. I want to do quiz.
Yeah.
Let's get our money out.
Let's run some quizzes.
Oh, okay. Bad.
Yeah, we're gonna have to watch it like that. Which one are we?
I don't know.
None of them? Are we just watching it? Actually, it's an Espeon.
Yeah, Espeon. Do we get to pick? We don't even get to pick.
We
get to watch people.
We get to watch now. It's probably just they're probably just ported bullshit. I know.
Oh whoa.
This is actually.
Oh, we get to pick one.
Oh,
Smooch him, right?
Yeah.
He looks ugly.
Dude, look at
way too many fucking bold things.
The pores don't need to all move sizes. Blaziken.
Why'd they spell it wrong? Oh my god, if I would have picked Blaziken.
That's actually Blaziken.
Blaziken.
100 channels. We haven't. What is this, fitness? Bro, she's really kicking them, you know? Like, Shopping channel, go.
Chill, bro.
Spencer's. That's why they asked us what time it was. Is that shit? Was that actually not kidding?
Friendship poster. In the crib.
It depends on how much. What? If it's under 25? How do those sunglasses stay on his face?
Who was on the camera?
Zod too. I kind of like it.
Random.
Yeah, that's fun. Bro's chilling.
That's scary. Back up.
Can we get a move on, bro? Bro, you hit that button like.
Looking through our wall.
One time he hit present to do damage, the other 2 times he healed my guy. So it's like. Oh, there you go. Little, like side quest. Shitty cards.
Whoa.
Whoa. Is it town map?
Can we go to those places?
That's kind of
nothing.
Yeah, get him to take that. Alright.
What is that? Oh, we had a Pokemon Mini in there.
What's that?
Snorlax's lunchtime? Is those games?
Better think Pika.
Thank you, Hansons.
Oh.
Look, we can play with our Pokemon Mini. I'll instantly check that out.
We were low-key being too hard on this game. I'm fucking with it. I won't lie to you.
It's crazy.
Gummy. Oh. Can't beat my score. He's pissy.
I don't care.
29 yum. 133.
I don't give a fuck.
It's just a... It wants to keep watching TV. Oh. Already another one. Does not include the Pokemon mini system.
Okay, another game. They always have the fucking biased.
Yeah, biased as namesake. Whoa. Why are we seeing the fucking tundra?
Let's go outside.
I kind of wanted to play Chansey Dribble or whatever. It's cool.
Probably tap A.
He wants to keep watching TV. You gonna say no to Pika?
Go outside, pussy boy.
Bro, you made him mad.
That's tough. Go outside. What?
No, play Chansey Dribble at least.
Oh, he looks ripped.
Man's bill is way too big. Oh my god. How does it stand up like that?
Do we have enough?
It's way too long. It's just like, come on, let's move it up. My boy.
You hear him? Give out!
Yeah, it's definitely Gengar. That's definitely what he said.
Yeah.
Oh, he doesn't look as good with the lights on.
It's like Pikachu.
Did Diglett sound like? Oh, it was probably our boy, but he talked over Diglett. Right?
You shut the fuck up. Come on.
Oh, here we go.
Who did I even pick? Oh, we know who that is.
Come on.
I don't even have to move the fucking controller.
Come on.
All I had to do was press A.
Yeah.
I didn't even have to move shit.
Put the cursor on the right
100.
answer. I get it's a kid's game. Oh, now we can beat the Lapis.
100.
I guess my answer faster.
No.
Swear.
Last time we did that, same shit happened. High five.
Ew, bro, he turned around scary.
We picked Eevee for this one.
Oh, family again!
Dumb motherfucker. You thought that was Trico. You thought that shit was
Come
Trico.
on. Trico. What the
Oh my
fuck?
gosh.
Cute. Right, here, go back.
They looked at it but didn't.
He's emotional. They didn't follow me.
That is random.
What happened? Dude, Pikachu's being such a dick right now.
I knew that was gonna come up.
Just dribble the ball, bro.
Do you press anything?
No, you just dribble the ball. You press A if you go past it, though.
Yahoo. Y'all fucking ho.
You just dribble the ball, bro.
It sucks. The controls suck. The gameplay sucks.
Points, but I still like it. Or he was like, it's kind of redundant.
With
Beat Nessie's ass.
But then I was like,
I originally.
So yeah, it was kind of cool seeing this pseudo Animal Crossing setup in which you slowly unlock new episodes every day, get stuff delivered by certain times by Delibird, but like it's in real time, like on the shopping website it'll say by 9 p.m. and Finding that Pokemon mini emulator under the bed was pretty hype too. Eventually, a few days in, you get to nickname your Pikachu. You can hop on a bus by buying bus passes from the shopping channel, and you get to go to places like Viridian Forest. You travel around and talk to Pokemon, but we were only playing for a day, so that doesn't really happen unless you're in the backyard. But you can also later on customize your TV, hang up paintings you make, and auction them off for Pokebread. Did that later on by myself. Look at this Boompa art. Pretty fire. Basically, if you were a Poke fan though, this was like your little simulator into the life. Pikachu even breaks your shit like a real life pet. I wish there was more exploring to do the first day, but alas, Pikachu wants to watch more TV. I did get to check the yard though in a nearby field and talk to my boy Oddish though, so that was cool. The steady, leaking outflow of content kind of makes me want to play this game for like a week, which is actually the only amount of time you need to pretty much see everything it has to offer. After you beat the game, the Europe version also got a damn Jirachi event in it if you complete it. But yeah, when I was younger, I had no idea of all this exploration or that you could really even leave the house, or I didn't understand that you could buy stuff or really any grasp on pretty much any concept because I was just a dumbass little kid. So now, in typical Boompa fashion, I kind of like it. I kind of like this game. It's kind of cool. It's kind of fun. It's kind of overhated. I feel like the few videos I've seen on it, everyone says it's like the worst game ever, and they're all mad, and they're like, this game's stupid. And I mean, there is a lot of stupid stuff, like it is slow, and a lot of animations are slow, and you have to depend on Pikachu to do stuff, but it's just like a weird experience, or like it's just a vibe. Like it's not supposed to be like a game, like an adventure or anything. It was just supposed to be kind of like something that you mess around and play with for like 20 minutes or something. But yeah, we missed a couple of the gambling channels that you unlock later on, an art channel, Mareep's relaxation channel. There's also a top 5 show you unlock as you progress. There was some other bus locations we missed out on that didn't seem too crazy. It's basically just a little battle backdrop with 3 Pokemon walking around. What was weird to me though was one of the locations is called Cobalt Coast, and that name isn't seen really anywhere until the most recent game, Pokemon Legends Arceus, with the location Cobalt Coastlands. So I think that's a weird and random callback to this game that me and you just discovered. Bet Did You Know Gaming, and none of the fuckers know that shit. None of the nerds. None of the losers know that we do. So yeah, we at Boompa are exclusive. But yeah, I feel like this game isn't bad per se. It's just like a relaxing sim experience. If you like Pokemon, you will not be able to help enjoying this passionate, cute game that they put together for you.
Video rental stores were pretty great. Instead of paying full price for a movie, you can just spend less money to rent one instead. We've got red boxes nowadays, but I don't know, they just don't feel the same. I never had the opportunity to step foot inside a Blockbuster though. That would have been a fun story. They often had video games as well, and it really gave me the chance to either try out games you didn't have the money for, or games you weren't too sure about. I think that publishers thought it would hurt game sales, but it was usually the opposite for me. I would eventually go on and buy rentals that I really liked, such as Mario Kart Wii, Zelda Twilight Princess, and Super Paper Mario. I rented LEGO Star Wars 2 so many times as a kid, it probably would have been cheaper to just buy it outright. Now, of course, there were plenty of weird games I played as a kid. I remember some Digimon game I played once that my dad told me was Pokemon, some Metabots game that seems like custom Robo in hindsight. I rented Mod Nation Racers once, so that was a weird time. But easily the game that I only rented once that left the biggest impression on me was Pokémon Channel. Not because I really love the game or anything, but just because of how weird the idea was. What do kids like nowadays? Watching TV. Well, we already have a TV show. No. We make a game about watching TV. Like, dude, that's so bizarre, just on paper. I only rented Pokemon Channel once as a kid, but there was just something about it that never left my head. I couldn't tell you much about those other weird games I mentioned, but Pokemon Channel was so vividly etched into my memory after just one playthrough. And yet, I still couldn't remember much about it. Like, this core concept was engraved into my brain, but I couldn't remember a single thing about it otherwise. I almost thought it was a weird dream I had as a kid, but it's actually a real video game. I think I first played it in like 2006 or 2007, and while I never seeked out playing it again, the back of my head was always morbidly curious. I guess that's reason enough for my slightly less impressionable adult brain to play it. Magnemites deliver a TV to your house, and for some reason, Professor Oak has chosen you as a test subject for the new Pokemon channel that shows various Pokemon-themed programs. Basically, Oak is just like, here's a TV. Now shut up and watch your anime like a good boy. Not that kind of anime. Like, the game starts out by watching you watch part of an anime episode. Okay then. It's called Pichu Bros and Pody Panic, which is a full-length TV episode, surprisingly enough. You only see part of it right now, with the later parts getting unlocked periodically throughout the game. But this thing is apparently copyrighted, so I'm only showing screenshots just to be safe. It stars two Pichu that one can only assume are brothers, and they're trying to get an invitation to the party that Meowth is throwing. Like, the Meowth. Like the talking one from Team Rocket. That one. All the voice actors reprised their roles for all the Pokemon and characters featured, which is honestly pretty cool. It looks like a normal Pokemon anime episode too. I wouldn't be surprised if it was made by the same studio. The video quality is pretty good as well. You can tell it's a bit compressed at times, but this is a full-length anime episode that they just put in a video game instead of airing it on TV. So the Pichu brothers get into shenanigans trying to get invited to Meowth's party and murdering a Houndour in the process, while Meowth is stressing out preparing for it. They eventually get an invitation, but they just have to be good Samaritans and give their invitation to an artist to the lost theirs. Idiots. But it's okay, because their invitations just arrived late, and then they get blown away by the wind. Good job, Azumarill. They MacGyver their way up to get them, and they actually make it. That's weirdly resourceful. Good for you guys. While everyone walks into the concert room, it transitions to this jarringly out-of-place CG. It was probably cheaper to do it like this, but wait a minute. What the hell? Is this that one GameCube Space Pool demo? It's nowhere near the same, but there's no way this isn't what that demo ended up as. Honestly, this is probably more interesting than the concert itself. Meowth just runs around and sings about the party that everyone's at. Jesse and James have voiceovers too. That's kinda neat. Then it ends with fireworks. The end. The cartoon is honestly alright. It's the average Pokemon only special, and has pretty much no dialogue other than some narration. But for what it's worth, it'd be a pretty okay watch if I saw it on TV or something. I forgot that I'm talking about a video game. After a short control tutorial, a Pikachu, Trico, and Torchic come knocking on your door, so, naturally, you open the door to these random-ass wild Pokemon. The Trico and Torchic get scared and run away, but the Pikachu seems to take a liking to you, so you just keep him. You even get to name him later. I called him Bulbasaur. I don't know why, I just thought it'd be funny. So you and Pikachu just mostly sit around and watch TV and send feedback to Professor Oak about them. That's basically what this game is. You don't have every channel at first, as you unlock new ones periodically as you come back and play this game every day. Yeah, I wasn't expecting this to be a daily game. This is the kind of game you play for about 30 minutes to an hour every day, and you come back the next with new stuff to do. You can go back and change the system clock, but I didn't because it kind of feels like cheating. It's like doing that with Animal Crossing. It just feels disingenuous. But I don't know, the game is weirdly relaxing. It might just be because you can't play it for long periods, but this is just a chill game about hanging out with a Pikachu. Pokémon Channel is pretty much a spiritual successor to Hey You Pikachu, except this one actually works. The TV is the main attraction, so let's go over the different channels you can watch. All the shows are hosted by Pokemon, and as such, they all talk like they do in the anime, but with subtitles over them. Except Meowth, he talks.
And there you have it. That ends my report from the scene.
I don't know, having subtitled Pokemon speak is weird, but kinda cool at the same time. It's charming in its own odd way. Pikachu has a bad habit of standing in front of the TV, but you can luckily zoom in and make it full screen instead. First up is the Pokemon News Flash. It's a site telling you random events going on as you progress through the game. Meowth will sometimes come along and do some on-the-scene reports and interview various Pokemon. Man, this Raichu is an asshole. This is the news, what else is there to really say? Although after the game ends, it's just always Psyduck sleeping at his desk, which I think is hilarious. Hey, wait, what are you doing? Oh my god, you stupid Bulbasaur, stop that. This thing's expensive. I do have to admit, it can be kind of fun to watch Pikachu do weird crap sometimes. This Pikachu almost feels like a cat, he has so many weird habits. Although, if he could stop breaking the TV, that'd be great, you little Next up is Smoochum Shape Up. Is this how Pikachu lost so much weight? I mean, good for you, but this is so weird. Like, just look at this. You haven't lived until you've seen a Pikachu literally worshipping a television. Smoochum... No, please no. Get out of that position. I feel like I'm breaking some kind of law watching this. Yeah, this is tough for me too, buddy. If you know basic Pokemon knowledge, then you'd be incredible at Quiz Wobbuffet. You can test this answer variations of, who's that Pokemon? Sorry I had to say it like that. It's really easy, but I'd imagine it's so kids can participate. The thing that gets me is how bad the contestants are. Like, I wonder what this giraffe-looking figure could possibly be. Geodude. Bitch, what? Or literally, the next question, what could this be? Sandshrew. It's literally saying the answer, dumbass. At least we get to hear Natu's amazing cry periodically. Can that just replace the in-game cry? It can be kind of annoying hearing Wobbuffet so much, but it's not too big of a deal. 2 times per showing, you have an opportunity to answer a question yourself and earn some money in the process. It pays pretty good too. I wish I could make $50 just by answering some easy-ass questions every few minutes. Shopping at school will always be spending the money you get from quiz shows. It's just like, hey kids, buy stuff. It's funny how accurate this is as actual shopping channels. They show you the product from multiple angles, interview a satisfied customer, and then shove the price in your face. You can buy collectible nice cards, dolls to place in a room, new TVs and decorations. This channel weirdly makes this a bit of a collection game. Although what kills the collection aspect is that some stuff can't be swapped out at will. If you want to change logbooks, picture frames, or wallpapers, you have to buy a new one instead of just swapping them out in a menu or something. It's dumb. Regardless of what you buy, you'll have to wait 12 hours of real time for them to be delivered to your house. Sweet bird Jesus, 12-hour delivery in 2003? What kind of utopia is this place? Can I pronounce Delibird as my new lord and savior? Never thought I'd be saying that. I'd hate to be these employees though. I don't need my stupid holographic codes that quickly. From then on, you'll unlock new channels day by day as you watch each program once. They're pretty straightforward from here on out. A weather channel, a daily fortune, quiz where you guess how many oddities will be on screen. Wait, odd one out? How about just not getting this pun? That's pretty great. There's one where Smoochum invades your privacy by broadcasting all your secrets, basically just a stat screen. The one where you watch an egg hatch is kinda weird. You guess what'll come out of it, and if you get it right, you get some money. It's kinda neat, but with how long you have to wait at times, it's nowhere near worth it. My favorite channel idea-wise is the Mareep Farm. You just listen to relaxing music and count Mareep. It's a really neat idea. You don't unlock this Smeargle statue that lets you take colorless screenshots of the shows you watch and let you doodle all over them. You can keep your most recent in a picture frame in your room for all the you to see. I misclicked on this thing once and sold a blank canvas for 50 bucks. Considering all the weird stuff that gets sold on eBay, this is weirdly realistic. But anyway, using this deep-fried meme generator, you have Smeargle critique them in his art gallery show. Man, am I glad this game came out in 2003. The internet would have ruined this feature in a day. Just look at Ultra Sun and Moon. The TV shows themselves are alright, I guess. They're entertaining enough for what they are, but you won't end up watching most of these more than once or twice. But surprisingly, there is stuff to do other than watch TV. You can play with the Pokemon Mini emulator, and yeah, this was an actual thing in the early 2000s. They're basically these short mini-games, they're all Pokemon themed. There's 6 of them in Pokemon Channel, but I couldn't find any other than the one you get from the beginning, which is only available in Pokemon Channel. Outside the TV, the game is basically a point-and-click adventure game. You can roam around and talk to a few Pokemon outside your house and get more nice cards. After answering their quiz questions first. Wow, imagine that in real life. Hey man, how's it going? What's my favorite instrument? What? I said, what is my favorite instrument? I don't know. The banjo? Lucky guess. Take this Pokemon card. You can buy bus passes to 3 more areas, but it's basically the same thing. You walk around and talk to Pokemon, and they give you stuff. The beach is the weirdest one. There's a fishing minigame, kind of, and the fish you catch ask you the same quiz questions, and you just toss them back in the ocean, I guess. This game's weird. So we go through this gameplay loop of watching new shows, getting money, and buying stuff for a few days, until one day the news channel comes on immediately. This Maddmike is really bad at his job, and he dropped the 5th part of Pichu Bros, so you have to go and find it. You go to Mount Snowfall, and there's a Gengar in the way. So, you go back to your house in the Springleaf Field and get a ball out of a hole for a Duskull, so he can give you his lamp that scares away Gengar. Yeah, sure, that makes sense. And then there's this really spooky temple, this total mood shift. But you just turn on 2 lamps, answer a true or false question, and congrats, you beat the game. How the hell did this DVD end up in this temple anyway? It was in the field when Maddmike dropped it. How did it end up all the way over here? Whatever. You come back the next day and Adrashi's like, hey dude, what's up? Here's the unskippable 20-minute credits. In the European and Australian versions, you get this Jirachi if you have a copy of Ruby or Sapphire, which is such BS for the rest of the world. I think I've only ever had like 1 legit Jirachi that distribute this guy so little. There's some easier functionality to this game, but it's apparently just more stuff to paint with a Smeargle statue. Not really worth all the hassle if you ask me. The music in this game though, the music in this game is so good. Why does no one ever talk about it? Even with underrated soundtracks, you can still find at least 1 good rip of it on YouTube. And that's true here, but there's only one. This god among men right here has the only playlist I could find that doesn't suck. God bless this man/woman. There's only like 1 extended track that I can find too. Cobalt Coast, Outdoors, The Egg Channel, and Mareep Farm are just such good pieces of music. And the song that plays when you're in your room without the TV on is honestly one of the nicest tracks I've ever heard in a video game. It's borderline criminal how underappreciated this soundtrack is. I was going to put up other Pokemon tracks for most of this video, but that almost feels wrong with how good Pokemon Channel's music is. Seriously, stop watching my stupid video and go listen to this stuff. It's great. Despite Pokemon Channel sounding really boring and weird, I honestly had a fun time with it. It's hard to describe, the game is just a surprisingly chill time. This is a game where we hang out with a Pikachu watching weird TV shows while listening to really nice music. If that doesn't at least sound like a chill evening, then I don't know what to tell you. I really enjoyed this game for what it is. But at the same time, this isn't really a game I'd recommend playing. Like, yeah, I enjoyed it, but you're much better off playing something else to get a similar chill game you come back to every day. Like, just look at Animal Crossing. This game took me about 4 hours to finish over the course of a week, and that's pretty much all the content this game has. There isn't much reason to come back afterwards either. It's just more collecting and quiz shows. Although, if you're a Pokemon fan just looking for a weird, cheap game to play for a few days, check this one out. You might really enjoy yourself. I think this game could work really well as an indie game. The game's relaxing and all, but if someone really doubled down on that weird, surreal factor, this could be something really cool. If some random indie dev made an obscure game like this for around $10, I could easily see getting a cult following.
And I say indie, because EA or Activision would probably turn the shopping channel into real-time microtransactions, as if those things were bad enough already.
But Pokemon Channel itself is an objectively average game that just aged weirdly well because of this strange and unique premise. It's something that Pokemon fans like myself might enjoy for a few days, but not much more than that. And for how cheap this game is nowadays, that's fine by me. This has been Flame Guy.
And there you have it. That ends my
review
from the scene.
Take care, and I'll see you all next mission.
Imagine you're relaxing at home, waiting for a TV delivery from your neighbor, Professor Oak. He's asked you to watch and review several shows before they're aired to the public. Many are fun little programs, while most are filler. Welcome to Pokémon Channel. Professor Oak wants you to watch the totally non-media mega corporations TV programming in order to get a good idea of what's popular and appeals to mindless 9-year-olds. You see, way back when, in order for companies to understand what's popular amongst viewers, they would take surveys to get an idea for ratings. Of course, people are really bad at keeping up with something like that, so they would install a box into some people's TVs in order to generate a report of what people watch. Fortunately, we're way past that and TV has evolved much further. Not the TV will be around much longer, with us being in the era of instant streaming and adblock. So, you're listening to Oak's sales pitch when you notice some Pokemon at your door. They all run off, and Pikachu comes inside to join you. Now you've got a couch buddy! A lot of the game is actually just a simulation experience with Pikachu. You can turn on your GameCube at different times of the day for new TV programs and worldly events going on outdoors. I only really played at night, so I kind of only meant the same Pokemon over and over again outside. If you like purchasing things of our yellow friend, then I've got a show for you, the Shoppin' Squirtle, where you can buy all your direct-to-home needs. I really spent all of my money on plushies. I mean, it's endorsed by Staryu. He's never steered me wrong, and if you run out of money, it's cool. I know our mom hides the divorce money. A lot of your funds are actually going to come from the game show channels, like Quiz Wobbuffet or The Odd One Out. And once you get enough money, you can head back to the Shoppin' Squirtle to pick up some nice cards. And if you can't buy your nice cards at a store and don't want to go line Spencer Squirtle's pockets, then you can answer quiz questions from Pokemon in the wild for them. Just make sure you check the forecast at Slowpoke's Weather Channel. You can also buy carts for your Pokemon minigame, decorations for your room, and new TVs. I usually stick to the Voltorb TV due to its size, as some TVs like the Mudkip TV have a silly filter going over them. Of course, the big show for the network is the Pichu Bros anime, starring twin Pichus and their adventures in a big city. The boys learn there is a big party going on with strange invitations. Meowth is hosting a party for the Pokemon in town, and everyone's invited. However, the Pichu Bros and company haven't gotten their invitations. They finally find one, but it belongs to a disappointed Oddish. Being a good role model, one Pichu tells the other that it needs to be returned. Then Azumarill shows up to share that they completely forgot to deliver the invitations. I can't watch this. Thanks for ruining everything, Azumarill. I'm watching Chum Chum Rankings instead. Oh, who's got the best ranking? What do you mean, Azumarill? If you're feeling creative, Professor Oak has given you a device called the Smeargle Paint. It lets you take a blank frame of the TV and recolor it. And if you're feeling cultured, you can go watch the Smeargle's Art Studio show, where he shows off brilliant works like Not Easy. The game wraps up with the TV crew losing the only copy of the final episode of the Pichu Bros anime in a field. You then manage to find it in an ancient temple on a snowy mountain. I don't really think these people really need to run a TV station. I mean, look, Pikachu is even entertained by the static. Once you find the final episode, Professor Oak invites you to come see a projection of it at a campsite. And the one taking you there is none other than Jirachi!
Yes, it's been like 1,000 years, and the Wishmaker Pokemon has been woken up just to escort you to the showing of an anime. Kinda manipulative. But in actuality, Jirachi was able to be received by copies of Ruby and Sapphire that connected to the GameCube title. However, this was only available to Japanese players. United States players didn't get this until the Pokemon Coliseum pre-order disc. Of course, Japan got the better deal as they're able to get Celebi from their Coliseum pre-order disc, causing Celebi to be the rarest Pokemon for a good decade. I'll be the first to admit, this game wasn't very good, even when it came out. I have nostalgia for it since I was a kid in 2003 that just adored Pokemon, but it's a super underwhelming pet simulator. I'd argue that Hey You Pikachu actually did a better job, but not really by much. Most of the TV programs range from garbage filler to Shopping Squirtle. I wouldn't rush to pick this game up, but nothing about it makes it the worst Pokemon spin-off. This has been Saffron. Thanks for listening.
What happens when you take illegal animal fights, give said animals superpowers, as well as enjoyment of the battles and loving care from their owners? What do you think? A very memorable series from the 90s, Pokemon spread like wildfire. And why wouldn't it? The goal of catching all Pokemon will keep anyone occupied for a very long time. I mean, seriously, how am I supposed to collect all of them? The first game had 150 alone. Every game since then have added similar, if not greater numbers. Okay, I exaggerate. Some games, specifically the ones that are not named after a color, gemstone, or chromosome, in the case of the current generation, have you doing other things, like the Mystery Dungeon series, where you are a Pokemon going on your own adventure with not a single trainer to be found. There are, of course, various other games that also take the series in other directions besides catching them all. And variety is what keeps a series alive and away from Boredom Town. Today's topic, however, is not quite up to par. Good thing I'm already in an armchair with a TV facing towards me as we speak, because it's time to talk about Pokémon Channel. We open with a group of Maddmike delivering a brand new TV to your house, with a wild Pikachu, Trico, and Torchic taking notice. It turns out this TV was brought to you by Professor Oak, for you apparently volunteered to be the test audience for a new series of Pokemon-themed shows. Now, there is an exclusive anime special in this game, but it's split into 5 parts, and I'd rather discuss it all together instead of separately, so I'll just summarize the whole thing towards the end. Needless to say, after part 1, the 3 wild Pokemon show up, with only Pikachu staying. Oak then suggests you let it stay and see its reaction to the shows as well. Well, okay, except for the fact that you're letting in a wild Pokemon. If it was one of my own, fine, but this is akin to having a rabid raccoon barge into my house and having animal control encouraging me to keep it. And for the record, you can go outside in this game, but on this first day, Pikachu won't let you go out until you've watched all the channels. This is what happens when you let a wild Pokemon into your home. You become a prisoner in your own house. Pika Pika! Oh no. Hey! Open this door! Pikachu! Pikachu! Not funny, you shock-inducing little rodent! Pikachu! No, but I do understand situational irony. Might as well see what we got. Psyduck has the news, Slowpoke predicts the weather, and Wobbuffet is hosting his own quiz show, which basically boils down to...
Who's that Pokemon? It's Cubone! Cubone, bone.
And probably the most ironic part of all is Smoochum's workout channel. Yes, exercise channels do exist, but for a game that encourages us to sit on our ass and watch TV, that's hard not to be ironic. Also, we have Shoppin' Squirtle. Are we sure this game is meant for kids? That allows you to buy Pokemon merchandise. In the game, I mean. A Delbird won't really arrive at your house in real life and give you stuff that you bought in a game. Besides, I get my mail from a cross-eyed Pegasus. Though a Delbird probably would get my packages to me intact more often. Oak is pleased with the player's progress so far, but then Pikachu accidentally destroys the TV. And yet you're still in contact with Oak. How? Is he talking on Skype, or is that Pikachu actually his and is some kind of plant to spy on you? With that scary thought in mind, his Magnemites bring a black and white TV to temporarily replace it. He'll have a new one the next day. Yes, this game actually wants you to play over the course of a few days. Or you could just do what I did and change your settings on your GameCube. So a new TV is delivered the following morning, along with anything else you bought from Squirt and Squirtle. And that still sounds dirty to me for some reason. With the next section of the anime, again I'll cover that towards the end, we can also get as what Pokemon will hatch from an egg channel. And yes, they actually expect you to watch the egg shaking for 5 minutes before it hatches. And then there's Smeargle's Art Gallery. Really, it's a still shot from the anime that the player colored Mario Paint style. Finally, we're able to go outside where Pokemon are wandering around, including in my yard. What are wild Pokemon doing in my yard? But instead of attacking and challenging you in your Pikachu to a fight, they ask trivia, and if you guess the questions right, they will give you a trading card, or money if you already asked this particular Pokemon. Of course, in pretty much every case, I wonder where they're keeping these cards. Off the top of my head, I'm pretty sure the only Pokemon that could have something that would resemble pockets is Genghis-Khan, who doesn't appear in this game as far as I can tell. Moving on, days 3 and 4 are basically the same deal, but day 4 starts with Pikachu having invited Trico and Torchic into the player's house without his knowledge or consent. Pikachu, this isn't your house. You can't just invite people in. By the way, where's Mudkip? I mean, we've been exposed to 2 other stars from the 3rd generation as friends of this Pikachu, and we can still find Trico and Torchic in other areas, so why is Mudkip so rare in this game? Maybe Nintendo's acknowledging the meme. Anyway, we got a few new channels, one of which lets you count Mareep. Yeah, personally, I prefer counting Snorlaxes. Also, Chum Chum Ranking, which basically boils down to yelling at you for not watching TV more often. And the last channel, before the last section of the anime at least, is Odd One Out, where the player can guess if there's an odd number of Oddishes or an even amount. Is anyone else starting to notice the biggest flaw in this video game? The lack of gameplay! Finally, something interesting happens on day 5. The final part of the anime goes missing. Apparently the Magnemite lost the disc that was supposed to go to the satellite transmitter. So you and Pikachu end up in some ancient ruins, and after getting past a very large Gengar and solving another trivia question, the disc is uncovered. As the final day comes to a close, Oak promises a special gift for being his guinea pig. And if you're playing the European version of this game, it's a Jirachi for the Ruby and Sapphire games. Everywhere else, it's just a visit from the rare Pokemon. You'll have to play the Colosseum game to get that. And here is where the anime will finally be talked about, as the game ends with you, Pikachu, and all 3 starters from Generation 3, oh that's where Mudkip's been this whole time, get to watch the whole thing projected against the stars. As for the special itself, well, remember back when the Pokemon movies actually were theatrically released, and they would have a short involving the Pokemon misadventures away from their trainers? Well, Pichu Bros in Party Panic is basically the same thing. A pair of Pichu brothers and their posse learn of a party being held by Meowth. Long story short, they eventually get their hands on invitations, at which point we see Meowth's party, an unreleased demo for the GameCube they decided to include here. What I don't get is why Meowth doesn't take advantage of the situation and try to steal all the Pokemon for Team Rocket. His song seems to imply that's his goal, but he doesn't actually follow up on it. So not only did we waste our time, but Meowth wasted his too. And that's that, I guess. Might as well see what else is on. This kind of game actually is really popular among children in Japan, though porting it to other regions probably wasn't the best idea. There's very little to actually do, and I don't think it was worth making an entire game out of it. Really, it was much better not when we were watching TV, but going out and interacting with other Pokemon. Though even that was limited, and not just the whole trivia thing, but also in the animations. Almost every Generation 1 Pokemon used their character model from Stadium, which, I remind you, was an N64 game. These models, alongside the newer ones of the GameCube, lead to a rather uncanny valley feeling for the game. And yes, that is putting the graphics technology of the time into consideration. Doesn't quite look right side by side. Also, where exactly does the player live where they can take a bus to Viridian, Mount Snowfall, and Cobalt Coast? 3 locations from 2 different regions. But I don't think continuity was the biggest concern of this game. More so just keeping players entertained, which they probably did up to a certain age range. So can I leave now? Pikachu! Pikachu! Pika Pika! Pikachu! Yeah, I guess. Listen to me, you puny human. You better not get any ideas about reviewing. No, I don't care how many death threats you send me. I am reviewing this and that's final.
As I'm sure many of you are aware, Pokemon Go just came out. Today, we're going to take a look back at one of the older Pokemon games from the past. It's widely regarded as one of the best Pokemon games ever, so get ready. It is Pokémon Channel! Hello, Ash. I have a job for you today. Oh, I'm not Ash. Actually, my name... I want you to sit on your fat butt watching TV all day. Well, as tempting as that is, I think I'm gonna have to pass. I can always count on you, Ash. Now here's your TV remote, and enjoy. Pokemon Channel is a video game where you sit there and watch TV. And yes, I use the term video game very loosely. I really wish I could tell you that there was some kind of interactivity, but that just isn't the case. Now, sure, you can look around your room or buy stuff on the shopping channel, but just, for example, take a look at the game show channel. Do you actually get to play the game show? No, that'd make too much sense, I guess. You literally just sit there and watch these other Pokemon play. Now, you do get to answer just one question at the end, but, I mean, after that, that's it. The show's over. Alright, look guys, I'm really sorry, but I'm not really feeling it today. So, I'm done. I'm not gonna play this stupid game anymore. Wait, hold up. You can get a free Jirachi in this game? Alright, so, here are all the channels. Let's just take a look at a few, I guess. Oh, Shopping Squirtle. This must be the shopping channel. Whew. Sorry about that. That song was just really funky. Got me going. On the shopping channel, Squirtle here talks about one of his items for about 5 hours, then he lets you buy it. The next day it comes in the mail and, hey Pikachu, quit digging through my mail! See, that's the thing about this game. This Pikachu wanders into your house and he wants to watch TV with you. But he likes the TV so much he refuses to let me leave. The door's open. Time to bail. Wait, no, please. I just want to go outside. The next channel we're gonna watch is Smoochum's Shape Up, basically the exercise channel. Oh, Pikachu wants me to exercise with him? Well, okay, I guess. Next up is the Pichu Bros, which is basically an episode of the Pokemon TV show made specifically for Pokemon Channel, and I've got to admit, it's actually pretty good. Although, you have to unlock all the parts of the episode as you play the game, with play and game again in heavy quotations. So, we'll have to come back and watch the end once we've finished this game. Alright, I have something to admit. I've been a little bit hard on this game. I've shown you all the bad channels, but I haven't chosen to show you any of the good ones. So, let's go ahead and take a look at the ones that are so mind-blowingly amazing, it's gonna change your life forever. Play 'em!
Laugh it up, fuzzball.
Well, gosh, after watching all that TV... we finally unlocked the last Pichu Brothers episode. Let's go ahead and watch it.
Bumbling and bumbling, screwing up and stumbling. Looks like Team Rocket's blasting off again. We're always stinking, it got me to tinking. And now me out has got the perfect plan. Go, cat, go!
Oh, alright, well, at least that's finally over now. How do I actually get my stupid Jirachi? I mean, I should probably get it by now. Wait a second. Are you kidding me? Screw you guys!
Well, well, I guess it has been a while since I've done an episode of this. Holy yikes! Yeah. See, the thing is, sometimes you just need some time apart from those you care about, and then life can get in the way, and then you all of a sudden have to start shopping for gutter covers, and then you need to buy a new fence. So I'd like to welcome you all back to the Paraspective, just, 2 years later. If you can even remember, we last left off in August of 2003 with a sequel to Pokemon Pinball, this time with that Gen 3 Hoenn flair to it of Pokemon Pinball Ruby and Sapphire. It was a decent side pinball game that helped to continue on what the Game Boy Advance started with Ruby and Sapphire. So now we're going a little over 3 months into the future to December of 2003. That's right, it's time for another Pokemon Holiday Classic, and it's also time to kick off Pokemon on this brand new Nintendo home console, the GameCube. The new system that was already out for 2 years in North America at this point. Oh. Yeah, it's honestly pretty surprising to me that Pokemon went this long without any GameCube release. The madness of Pokemon may have been over by this point, but I mean, it's Pokemon. It's going to bring in money anyway, right? So let's do a quick rundown of the rest of the franchise during this time, because I do feel like it's important to set you back in that time period. In regards to the anime, Season 5's Master Quest concluded and Season 6 began in North America in November of 2003, called Pokemon Advanced, as it followed Ash and the gang exploring and collecting Hoenn gym badges, so Gen 3 was in full swing here. Movie-wise, things were still in a transition period here, as Pokemon Heroes was the last movie to get a theatrical release, at least for a little while. The sixth film, Jirachi Wishmaker, was out in Japan at this point, but it wouldn't find its way to North America until mid-2004, so we're not there yet. The trading card game, of course, never went away, so there were actually 2 more sets released between the last episode and now, the 18th and 19th sets, EX Sandstorm and EX Dragon, in September and November of 2003 respectively. EX Sandstorm focused more on desert Pokemon and bringing back the fossil mechanic from the original Fossil set. EX Dragon introduced some Dragon-type Hoenn Pokemon like Salamence, Flygon, and Altaria. These concluded the EX Ruby and Sapphire block too. But now, back to video games. As I said, the GameCube had already been out since late 2001, so this next new game was what brought Pokemon to the system, and this one had already been out in Japan since July of 2003. In Japan, it was known as Pokémon Channel Together with Pikachu, developed by Umbrella, returning from Hey You Pikachu. That's right, Pokémon Channel Together with Pikachu was developed as a sequel to Hey You Pikachu, the pet simulator game for the Nintendo 64 that we looked at in episode 9, which had the barely functional microphone meant for talking to your pet Pikachu.
I woke up earlier than you, this is probably a bad sign. Dude.
Pikachu.
Yes, even that game got a sequel here. So, on December 1st, 2003, for the upcoming holiday season, North America saw the release of Pokémon Channel Together with Pikachu, now just known as Pokémon Channel. I have never played this game, I have never heard of this game until researching this, so per tradition, let's check out the game case, as I will literally be seeing this for the first time here. So let's pretend it's the beginning of December in 2003. The number one song that week? Stand Up by Ludacris featuring Shauna. So we get a nice grassy landscape in the background with a TV in the middle that is apparently without a broadcast, as it has the colored line bars behind the shape of a Pokeball in the middle. Well, that's not bringing me a bunch of confidence if not even the TV in the game is working properly. On the left side is a waving Pikachu, and on the right are the three Hoenn starters, Torchic, Trico, and Mudkip, all looking quite good graphically. And on the bottom it says, includes 3 Pokemon Channel e-reader cards. Huh, that's interesting. The e-reader is what plugs into the back of a Game Boy Advance that you can scan to do a handful of different things like add stuff to a game you're playing, or even be games themselves. I know the GameCube also had connectivity to the Game Boy Advance, so this game was yet another attempt at making the e-reader relevant. And of course, it is rated E for everyone and only for the Nintendo GameCube. Sorry M-rated PS2 fans, Pokemon Channel may not be for you. The back of the case states, Professor Oak needs your help. Oh no. Pokemon Channel is a TV broadcasting network that airs a variety of Pokemon programs, and Professor Oak selected you as the initial test audience. Okay, so my purpose in this game is to sit in a white room while people analyze me through a one-sided mirror? With the help of Pikachu and other Pokemon, all those other stupid Pokemon, you can make Pokemon Channel the highest rated channel on your TV. Wait, that's it? Increase ratings for a TV station? I gotta be honest, this is a hard sell. Let's see what we get for the pictures then. The top left picture is for PNF, or Pokemon News Flash, as it shows Meowth's on-the-scene interview, apparently with a Psyduck, as the time 9:34 is either a countdown or a number going up or the time of day or something. And at the bottom it says, watch Psyduck deliver the news while Meowth reports on location. Pay close attention for hints on where to meet Pokemon. Oh no, this game is meant for small children, isn't it? Picture 2 says, Pichu Bros in Party Panic, exclusively for Pokemon Channel, featuring an all-new animation, as we get our first look at the Pichu Bros. I'm guessing this is just a short cartoon that you watch and do nothing else. I'm sure that hijinks will ensue to the max though. Picture 3 is the Smeargle Art Study, which appears to be a coloring book featuring a colored-in Psyduck again. I wonder if it's the same PNF Psyduck. Next to a Sunflora, Delibird, Magneton, and Xatu. At the bottom it says, paint your favorite scenes and have them evaluated by Smeargle. Alright, I mean, I used to love Mario Paint, and that game had a coloring book, so there's that. Picture 4 is the Shoppin' Squirtle with that sunglasses wearing Squirtle mofo himself, as it says, it's time for Shoppin' Squirtle. Yes, it certainly is. The bottom says, use purchase points to buy items for your room and make it more Pikachu friendly. Oh, so now I'm supposed to impress a Pikachu? I thought I was the test subject for some weird TV station run by Professor Oak. Is Shoppin' Squirtle like the QVC network for the Pokemon universe? I also used to watch that as a kid, fun fact. Picture 5 looks a lot like the front cover with some windmills, a Pikachu, Torchic, Trico, and Mudkip. It says, "Play with Pikachu outside and meet many different Pokemon." I'm assuming this might be like the Hey You Pikachu channel here, which is what I thought this game was going to be based on the developer. And finally, picture 6 says, Pokemon Mini, and has Game Boy looking graphics of a Snorlax ordering from a Subway. Okay, good, and great are the options. And under that it says, play a virtual version of Pokemon Mini and select from a variety of minigame titles. Well, this easily sounds like the best part of the game. Like with both Stadium games, this is once again riding that Mario Party minigame high. Mario Party 5 was out by this point. That's a fun one. And the very last thing to look at is the important info at the top. Pokémon Channel is one player, uses 22 memory card blocks, is compatible with the e-reader and Game Boy Advance. So I know I'm ultra curious as to what this game is. I'm not expecting much. Like at all. Maybe some of the minigames will be fun though. Let's see what this even is, and full disclosure, I'll be showing gameplay from Long Play Archive here.
This show is brought to you by these sponsors here.
So we open with a gaggle of 4 Magnamite carrying a TV through a windmill valley as a Pikachu, Torchic, Mudkip, and Trico follow them as they deliver it to your house, located in Springleaf Field, which is part of a place called Mint Ale Town. Or is it 1 Magnemite and 1 Magneton? Then Professor Oak on the TV starts telling you what this TV does. As the back of the case stated, you have been chosen to be the test audience for these Pokemon channels. So your first task is to literally just sit there and watch an episode of the anime called Pichu Bros and Party Panic. So I was absolutely right about what this was. You just watch it. But what is kinda cool is that these parts were exclusive to this game and feature a lot of the same voice actors. Whether you like these shorts or not is another thing. Basically, part 1 follows 2 Pichu brothers living their lives. A random smoochum notices a bunch of Pokemon carrying invitations shaped like a crescent moon. So she notifies the Pichu Bros and investigations ensue. There are a bunch of Pokemon shown here like Teddiursa, Magby, Smeargle, etc. And the whole series is eventually shown in 5 parts throughout the game. After sitting through whatever that was, Professor Oak tells you to report it, which is saving your game. And then he tells you to look around your room. You notice the 4 from the opening looking at you from outside. Torchic, Mudkip, and Trico flee when you open the sliding glass door, but Pikachu joins you on your TV exploration, bringing back some Hey You Pikachu vibes. Then you just kinda check out what each of the channels are. And yes, this is most certainly, absolutely, definitely for small children. Checking out PNF, or Pokemon Newsflash, you watch a news anchor Psyduck giving a report on random things Pokemon are doing in random places, while it cuts to Team Rocket's Meowth reporting on the scene. So you sit there and listen to this on repeat as you start to question so many things about how you got to this point in your life. Eventually, more and more shows start appearing, and the more you watch, the more Pikachu likes them as well. The game is played in real time and is meant to be completed in about a week of real time. I feel like they were trying to cash in on the hype of Animal Crossing here with the relaxing vibes and playing through it in real time to unlock different things. But that's about where the similarities stop there. Animal Crossing, this is not. Shop and Squirtle is in fact a shopping channel along lines of QVC, where Squirtle from the Squirtle Squad helps to teach small children to use their parents' credit card to order things from the show. Your first task is to order a nice card binder to be instantly delivered to you by a delibird, showing just how easy it is to buy things online or on TV. The nice card binder comes with some nice cards that you'll want to collect over time, which are just cards of random Pokemon of different rarities. Sounds familiar. There are 110 different Pokemon to collect here. As far as the other shows go, there's also Quiz Wobbuffet, where you can try to identify Pokemon from their silhouettes or whatever, basically the game show channel. There's at least something here to test your Pokemon knowledge though. Smoochum Shape Up is a Smoochum exercise program which is equal parts whimsical and creepy. Slowpoke's weather report is just how it sounds. A Slowpoke walks by a signpost that shows the weather. Examination Hatch Up Poke-Egg is, get this, you guess what Pokemon is in the egg and then it tells you how much time is left until it hatches. So you can sit here for 5 minutes, for example, while random facts slide across the top of the screen. You get to watch an egg hatch in real time. Mareep Farm is where you watch a bunch of Mareep jump over a fence while it keeps count, which I guess is meant to be relaxing. I have personally dealt with insomnia for over 4 years now, so maybe watching some Mareep Farm before bed is what I've been missing all along. Also at one point, you can color in a picture along the lines of Mario Paint, and if you choose to watch Smeargle's art study, a Smeargle will rate the coloring skills of your pictures. Chum Chum Ranking is yet another Smoochum channel where you get to see the popularity ranking of different Pokemon. This might be the strangest one of all of them. I mean, what? Chansey's Fortune Cookie is, well, where you can open a fortune cookie for some well-needed advice. And finally, Odd One Out is where a handful of Oddish slowly enter a ring, and you have a small time frame to guess if there will eventually be an odd or even number of them by the end. It's basically random and even further illustrates just how young of an audience this is meant for. You are learning odd and even numbers here. And those are the channels. What a strange idea this whole game is. One last thing you can find in the game is yet another real-life subtle advertisement for something called a Pokemon Mini. The Pokemon Mini was a tiny handheld device you could buy in late 2001 that was almost like a small Tamagotchi-sized device with an LCD screen that you can play some minigames on. These came in Chikorita Green, Wooper Blue, or Smoochum Purple. Again with the Smoochum. Were they really trying to make Smoochum a thing back then? But anyways, there is a virtual Pokemon Mini you can obtain in this game, which does feature some minigames, including the Pokemon Channel exclusive of Snorlax's Lunchtime, which was featured on the back of the game case. In Snorlax's Lunchtime, images of food appear in front of Snorlax, and you have a small time frame to press a button to feed it to him, by making sure you don't accidentally feed him a Pichu. That's horrible. But that's also the entire game. Build up a high score and don't accidentally feed him a baby. There are also some minigames on this that are emulated from the real minis, like Slowking's Judge, where you call shots of a tennis game, which is so weird, and also Chansey's Dribble, where you kick a ball to a finish line. There's also Pokemon Pinball Mini. I did not think I would be revisiting Pokemon Pinball at all, as well as Pokemon Puzzle Collection Mini. Wow, all of my old friends are here. The Japanese version has even more minigames to play too that for some reason were made exclusive to that version. But when you aren't watching the different shows on TV, then the rest of the game is much more like Hey You Pikachu. Instead of talking into a microphone, you basically move and point a cursor to where you want Pikachu to go, and then it'll interact with whatever it is. It's definitely more functional than the wonky microphone and much easier to control here. You can actually go out and explore the region of Mintail Town here, where you can discover different Pokemon, have Pikachu talk to them, and obtain more currency or nice cards. I would say about half of the game is having Pikachu interact with stuff, and the other half is watching TV. Even though a lot of the game is spent doing this, there isn't a whole lot to say about it. It's very similar to Hey You Pikachu, but I wanted to focus more on the channels here since the game is called Pokemon Channel. So yeah, that's pretty much the gist of Pokemon Channel. It is most certainly a game meant for small children, maybe even more so than Hey You Pikachu. Although I remember in that game you have to identify an apple, so maybe not. It's almost pointless to even say what my thoughts on this game are. I mean, you can spend time watching Mareep jump over a fence if you want. If you want to play another virtual pet game with Pikachu that has no stress to it whatsoever, then I guess check this out. But really, if you have a child under the age of 6 and they love Pokemon, then I mean this is a pretty harmless time waster. You get to see some Pokemon and GameCube graphics at the very least. The cynical part of me though thinks that this game is also encouraging children to watch TV all day, teaches them the art of buying things from home shopping networks, and is subliminally getting them to go out and have their parents get more Pokemon cards, Pokemon minis, and Pokemon merchandise to help give this franchise even more money. Gotta catch 'em all indeed. I'm mostly joking there, but to fully experience everything in this game, you will need to also get an e-reader and Game Boy Advance. The game even comes with some e-reader cards to get you to go out and buy an e-reader. These cards are just some extra coloring book pages for Smeargle to rate though, so it's absolutely not worth it just for that. But even after all that, there is a reason to obtain and beat this game that can directly affect your mainline Pokemon playthroughs. Well, kinda. For some reason, only in the European and Australian versions, after you finish watching all of Pichu Bros and Party Panic, you can obtain a mythical Jirachi for your Ruby and Sapphire games. Wow, that's awesome. Yet probably the sole reason actual mainline Pokemon fans would ever want to play this game, and you can't get one in the North American and Japanese versions. Oh, this game. However, the European and Australian versions didn't come out until 2004, so this was probably a late addition to the game to maybe coincide with the release of the Jirachi movie. Still, that really sucks. So basically, no, I am nowhere near the target demographic for this game, but I could also tell this from looking at the game case too. By the time this came out in December of 2003, I was a senior in high school, getting ready to graduate in 5 months. I no longer cared about anything Pokemon related. I didn't play any of the games anymore, I didn't collect the cards or watch any of the anime, nothing. This game was so far removed from where I was in life, and I don't even remember seeing it in game stores or in Blockbuster or whatever. I didn't even know of its existence until this retrospective. So for my history with it, there was absolutely none. But it's time to bring back a fan favorite segment here of
Where's that Paraspective?
I say fan favorite because it's me, I'm that fan. But let's find out if Paraspective is found in Pokémon Channel. No, of course not, and I'm actually okay with this. Maybe we can keep the possessed zombie crab out of this game meant for 5-year-olds. It's also not a surprise anyway. We'll just have to wait and see when spores can cover the land once more. Sales-wise, this definitely was not a big seller with a little over 300,000 copies sold. That is peanuts in terms of Pokemon games, and certainly nowhere near a top-selling GameCube game. The reception for it also ranged from pretty terrible to just meh. A lot of reviews stated that this game is simply pretty boring and only for die-hard fans or small children. The music and sound is not great, the repetition shows up real quick, and even the graphics are pretty tame to show off the GameCube's capabilities. The one positive the game got is that there are a decent number of collectibles to obtain that could be fun, like with all of the nice cards. But really, that's about it. Along with Hey You Pikachu, this is a bit of a low point for the series. You know, unless you're in Mrs. Castiglione's kindergarten class and you have to stay after school to learn about one of the letters of the alphabet because you had that stupid dentist appointment to go to. But that certainly wasn't me, I was a senior in high school then. But next time, we're going all out with an actual game in only about 4 months after Pokémon Channel to March of 2004. Enough of this kids stuff, it's time to bring back hardcore 3D battling, baby, now in full swing on the GameCube. This is kind of a big one too, and to be honest, I've never played it before in my life. It will absolutely be a debut for me. Paraspectre will return for Pokémon Coliseum.